Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. And excited to have Cam with me as well. And yeah, quite a few of you in the chat already, so good to have you guys in. And we'll wait a little bit. But Cam, how you doing, mate?
Good, thanks, mate. How yourself?
Yeah, I'm good. Exciting times draws out. We're talking about it. Busy times for you as well, and a busy couple of weeks ahead. But yeah, I mean, initial thoughts generally on the draw. Like, we're happy with how excited it's going to be because you're going to be covering a lot of matches as well.
Yeah, I mean, there's some massive first round matches.
Yeah,
I found I don't know if you watched the draw live or it might have been maybe a bit late, but
yeah.
the first thing that happens is Świątek gets Kenin, and after that, it was just like it was just crazy. So
Yeah,
yeah,
the
I'm a little
WTA is
obviously.
madness, I felt.
Oh yeah, and then it was like Collins Kerber, and then it went from there. But yeah, there's some crazy first rounds, and then there's just some really like Djokovic versus a qualifier and all those ones like as well. So it's a nice
Yeah.
mix for day 1 and 2, I think.
Yeah, definitely. Like Sabalenka and Djokovic have got qualifiers, so they'll be happy, like defending champs. But yeah,
Yeah,
Świątek's got Kennan's won the Australian Open, so I know she's maybe not as good as she was back then, potentially, but it's still going to be a tricky one. And then like Osaka, Garcia is like, I mean, that's so exciting. I
yeah,
can't wait for that one. That's going to be like amazing. But yeah, we can discuss it in more depth. But yeah, we've got some people in the chat: Dutchy, Greg, Say, Josep, Joe, Katia as well. Guys, get your questions in the chat, and then we'll chat a little bit, and then hopefully answer some of your questions as well. But yeah, I mean, for Djokovic, we can start with Djokovic. I mean, Cam, do you think he's got a pretty easy route? Like I saw you did your preview as well, and I think it's difficult with him because I feel like there's only really 2 or 3 players maximum that can actually you feel like they can really trouble him, and not even
yeah,
necessarily beat him, but they'll probably not be the favourites against him. But he's in that unique position. So most draws when they come out, they're easy for him just because he's got such great head-to-heads against pretty much everyone on tour.
yeah,
So it's
exactly.
difficult to say that he gets a really tough draw unless I guess you could say unless he draws someone really tough, like say an unseeded Berrettini in the first round, then you could say, okay, maybe like that's where it then becomes tricky. But what were your thoughts on his draw?
Yeah, like people were saying before the draw come out, like, oh, he's going to get an easy draw. He always does, and you're like, well, yeah, of course he does, because yeah, like 99% of the players he plays, he's going to beat in straight sets. We saw it last year when he even played some of the guys we thought would be a trouble. You know, guys like Rublev or even Tsitsipas in the final. We thought, oh, maybe something, but he beat them easily too. So yeah, I wasn't like I said. Yeah, maybe there was the dangerous unseeded players going in. You know, the Berrettinis, the Murrays are dangerous for some players, but not others. And
Yeah,
Djokovic, I mean, yeah, there's like Sinner, Alcaraz, Medvedev. He's not going to play them until the semis. So
no,
maybe I'm looking at it now. Like it'd be cool to see Monfils or Murray play Djokovic, but I don't think it's going to be what it was 10 years ago.
no, yeah,
Wawrinka's in that section. Shelton is the fourth round that I want to see
yeah, definitely.
because that feels
Who's gonna
like
hang up
it's
the
the
phone?
only interesting challenge, maybe. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, exactly, and also like getting that rematch and being on. I mean, people might know Sheldon a bit more. Maybe he gets a bit more crowd support from the Aussies this year,
yeah,
because he's a bit more known now. But yeah, I mean, he doesn't have much. Even if you go to the quarters, Tsitsipas getting there at this stage, unlikely.
yeah.
He might not even get out of the first round.
He's got Berrettini.
Fritz,
Yeah,
and
crazy.
yeah, and then Fritz has never beaten Djokovic.
Yeah.
And then you get to the semi, and that's kind of where it starts for Djokovic.
Yeah. Look,
It's
his thing is like
it's
you say out
nothing.
Monfils, but like Monfils has never beaten Djokovic. Was it like 17-0 or something like ridiculous?
I
And
thought it
then
was way crazy. I thought it was like in the 20s. I know someone
oh,
in the chat will know.
yeah, it's like absolute carnage. And then obviously Murray has beaten him, but he's a shadow of the player he once was. But it'd be nice to see it because since his comeback, we haven't seen it. I think we were about to get it, and then he had to
Yeah,
pull out. Maybe it was in Montreal or somewhere. I've forgotten where, but it was like a year or so ago.
yeah,
But
yeah,
yeah, I think it's just so interesting to see. You look at Djokovic's draw and you just think, yeah, like Sinner, Alcaraz, fine, okay, maybe Medvedev, maybe Zverev, but it's like you
mm,
can only have so many of those top players in your half, right?
yep,
I do think the bottom half is more stacked, in
yeah,
honesty, but like that's just because, as I said, like Djokovic just cleans up the top half really until Sinner,
Yeah.
and then you think, okay, maybe, but it's difficult. And also, like I don't know whether you saw him in, like he was warming up, I think, with Zverev, like in a warm-up session, and I was looking at his wrist because obviously everyone's talking about, oh, is his wrist going to be, is it going to be a little bit off, and is he going to have strapping, or will he be holding it back a little bit? But he was hitting the ball so clean. I was watching the points, and he was like looking like super razor sharp. So I was just thinking, doesn't seem to be an issue at all, which is obviously good for people that want to watch him and neutrals. But I guess in a way, it just means that it's going to be a lot harder for the rest of the field because he, if he's fit, it's going to be really tough. I think for pretty much everyone. So I guess we'll see. But yeah. What about Alcaraz? Because Alcaraz has got a pretty tough draw. I think, like, I've got it here. I think so. I think this is assuming that the seeds kind of fall into place. So he's got Gasquet, Sonego, Bublik, Poole, Zverev, Medvedev, Djokovic. Like, really, from Bublik onwards in the third round, that's pretty tough. Like, that's not easy. And Tommy Poole, he has real battles with. I think he's lost to Zverev in big matches, ATP Tour finals last year, Roland Garros the year before. And then obviously Medvedev being in the US Open semi. Djokovic, we know, is going to be really tough at the Australian Open. So, I mean, like, what do you think?
Yeah, it depends on how Alcaraz looks. I know people are going to. He lost to Dimitrov, and it was kind of a bit of a weird exhibition, but you don't really look too much into that for Alcaraz, I don't think. But I mean, Gasquet, again, he's kind of like those, those matches with Monfils and Murray against Djokovic. You kind of go, oh, maybe if it was 10 years ago, it would be really crazy first round. But Gasquet can surprise. And then, Sonego, I mean, even Evans, both of them can get the crowds going. So that could be awkward. Bublik, it depends on the day. I mean, Paul is going to be awkward in the fourth round, but Draper could make it. I know
Draper's.
He's been like, he just beat Paul yesterday.
I saw he looked really good. I put a tweet out. I was like, he looked really good. If he stays fit, I'm interested to see what he does.
Yeah, so it could be Draper, Alcaraz, but then then you got Zverev in the quarters, and Zverev just beat Alcaraz in the ATP finals. And I guess the thing, like the weirdest thing about Alcaraz here is that we didn't see him last year, and the year before that, he wasn't the same. Like, he wasn't quite yet that guy that he is now. So it's like, well, what do we expect from him? He's won a US Open, but this is different, a little bit different. So it's hard to know what, and he hasn't had no warm-up tournaments coming in. He just played that exhibition. He's playing again tonight. But I don't know. It's hard to say whether or not Alcaraz is going to be able to just clean up, like kind of Wimbledon. Like, he came in with the Wimbledon with the Queen's title, and it was still like, okay, well, now it's a Grand Slam, and then he just kind of like beat everyone easily up until a point, like pretty easily, like 4 sets at most. Even like guys like Berrettini at that time, we thought, oh, that's going to be tough. And he just kind of beat him in 4, and then he gets through Jarry, and he gets through all these guys. And then, so it could be like that, or it could be, he does struggle against like Sonego second round, gets through in 5, and then we're like, okay, well, who's going to get him next? But it's
definitely. I mean, you can see he had a tough Wimbledon run. Like, if you think about it, I think he had, you said, because he had Jarry, he had Rune, Medvedev, and then he had Berrettini before that as well. So that's like 4. They're tough players, and then obviously Djokovic in the finals. That's a damn good run, right? Like, that's legit. I mean, if you compare it to his US Open run, it's not really like, US Open run was like, okay, he got his first slam, but it wasn't. You didn't look at that run and say, like, he beat, was it TFO in the semifinals, Sinner in the quarterfinals, and then final was Rude. So it's like, okay, compare that to his Wimbledon run, which is like really impressive. So I guess that shows that he has the ability to do it. And this is another tough draw. But as you said, it's difficult because you haven't really seen him at the Australian Open. But I guess at Wimbledon, he was even less experienced on grass even, and he still managed to do it. So it's difficult to say that, oh, actually, he's going to win it. But at the same time, it's like, oh, can we really count him out? Because initially I'd actually gone for him, and then I looked at the draw, and I just thought, I don't know whether he's going to do it. And so I ended up defaulting to Djokovic, to be honest. But, because I was just like, the draw just looks like, it just looks so easy when you look at it on paper for Djokovic.
I feel like if you flip Djokovic and Alcaraz around, sometimes when you do that, it's like, oh, well, Djokovic still has an easy draw. But I think if you did flip them around,
I don't think so. Actually, I think it's
tough. This time around it feels like the top part, like where Djokovic is the better part.
Yeah, I agree.
If you put Djokovic down the bottom, and you say he's got to play, Bublik, Paul, Zverev, Medvedev, or Hurkacz or Rune, that is much tougher. In the second one, especially.
Definitely. I think for him personally, I guess it's just the way the seeds fall, isn't it? But like I agree, because I think Bublik can probably be fine with it, or even Draper. But it's Zverev, right, or Medvedev or Hurkacz or Rune. Those are the guys. You're like, okay, like those guys could do something. I'm not saying they're going to definitely win, but it would be very interesting for sure. Fazan versus Cam is going to be a heck of a quarterfinal matchup. Yeah, I wish. Yeah, that'd be amazing. But yeah, no, definitely. I think Jose said the Bublik Musetti. Yeah, did you see the Bublik Musetti? Any of the highlights?
No, I mean I saw was that the same? Was that
the
when
one
I
where
saw
he
the
does
highlight when he ate
the legs?
When he ate the food. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't seen all the highlights.
He does the underarm serve and then does a between the legs shot for the +1 of his serve. It's ridiculous, honestly. I think he was like that. I was watching the highlights for it, and Bublik, I think he was like, he was a break up in the second set. Then Musetti broke back. He lost the tiebreaker. Musetti took him to a third, and then like Musetti was up a break. I think he was serving for he had a match point, and Bublik saved it, and then he came back to win. Like it's just ridiculous, absolutely crazy. Like third set. And Musetti can't buy a win at the moment, to be honest. I think.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
I know he's your favorite player as well.
He's so frustrating.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. What do you think? Actually, Osaka Garcia is surely going to be a night match. I mean, I'd be surprised if it's not.
I think that'll be like it was. So I know they're starting a day early, and if it's anything like the French Open, day one is sort of like they just put on like maybe the locals, or they'll just put on like the Sunday matches won't be. I don't think we'll get like a Djokovic on the first day, or Osaka, or maybe Osaka, but I think night session day 2, like Monday night, it has to be a night session. Like you can't put that on. You can't put that on during the day, or can't put that. It has to be Rod Laver night session. It has to be. It's a comeback. She's won twice. It has to be.
Yeah, definitely. I agree. So do you think an unseeded player can go to the final? I don't know. I mean, not. What you're thinking, like, well, there's like Berrettini's unseeded. I guess Osaka's unseeded.
Oh yeah.
Who else
That's
is?
The only...
There's a few of the women's players that are unseeded. I think I was looking at it and I was thinking, ooh, they could. I mean, there's Anisimova, I guess, but she's had a year off, like a break as well. Raducanu's unseeded.
Yeah.
Again, don't know. She's got a tough first round as well.
Yeah.
Against Shelby Rogers. I would be surprised. I'd be surprised if unseeded player made it.
I think Osaka's probably the only one, because like
yeah,
all the other unseeded players that I thought were dangerous are all in the Świątek section. So it's like they've all kind of like most of them are crammed up the top. Even like Nuzkova, who's been good, she made a semi I think last week. So like all of those players are like in that same section. So it's either one of them gets through and makes the final and takes Świątek's spot, or Iga just gets through everybody. Osaka's probably the only one. On the men's side, I mean, is someone going to beat Djokovic? Is an unseeded player going to get through Sinner and Medvedev and Alcaraz? Maybe they get really lucky, but
I
can't think of anyone on the men's side.
Marijan for the win.
Marijan, yeah, there we go. That's all right.
I don't know. We'll see. That's a good question. Yeah, Medvedev. So Medvedev, like Alcaraz, hasn't played a warm-up tournament, and I don't think he's played any exhibitions. Are you surprised by that, actually?
A little bit. I mean, he did play like before Christmas, like in that World Tennis League.
Yeah, he did.
It's not like he's coming in. He hasn't played since the ATP Finals, but yeah, it's weird. I mean, I know Sinner played the Kooyong exhibition, and Alcaraz is doing these charity matches. But they're all kind of in the same boat. Like we'll find out next week. If they all lose early, we're all going to say the same thing and say should have played Adelaide, should have played Brisbane, or should have played United Cup. But then if they win, we'll and we can go. And then let's say Djokovic goes out because of the wrist, we'll say, well, you shouldn't play because look what's happened. He got injured, So we'll find out. But yeah, I think Medvedev not playing anything. I wonder if it's hard to know because I mean there haven't been too many. I know not to get too political, but the Russians haven't been invited to too many of these exhibition charity things.
Oh, really? Maybe that's why then.
So I don't think he was going to have a night with Medi like Djokovic did yesterday.
Although Sabalenka was part of it, right? She's Belarus.
Oh, true. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, okay.
But she's a champion as well, I guess. So it's a bit different.
Yeah, he can't ignore that.
Can't exclude her, can he? Because she's a champion.
I'm surprised he didn't play Kuyong though. That would have been something. Sinner played a couple matches there, and
still Murray and Thiem played one. Murray with the win.
Yeah. I don't know. He'll be an interesting one. Medvedev. We're coming in with no knowledge. Everyone's looking at everybody else. Probably maybe a smart move. So no one's thinking about Medvedev because he's not there or he hasn't been playing.
Yeah, I mean he'll be well rested, I guess. That's the positive from it. But the good thing for him is that I'm looking at his draw in front of me actually as well, like projected players. I mean he's got qualifiers, so first round. So that would be good for him. He can just kind of ease into it. If he had Berrettini first round, I'd be like, okay, right, that might be an issue after a long layoff. But then he's got Rusevori, who I think he should be, and then FA, who I don't know if he'll even make the third round because FA's got Thiem in the first round, hasn't he? So that would be tough. And then Dimitrov, round of 16 is really tough. Rune final, really tough. Alcaraz, Djokovic. I mean, from round of 16 onwards is just nightmare city in honesty. Because Dimitrov's my dark horse. Who's your dark horse actually? Who's a dark horse?
It's Dimitrov. I think. Yeah, right. Yeah, right. Yeah, Dimitrov. I'll put him down, especially because of that Medvedev draw. Like if he was in the same section as Djokovic, I wouldn't have said. I don't think he gets through Nole, but because Medvedev. Like I'm looking at the draw and I'm like, okay, it depends on what qualifier he gets. I looked at the qualies. The Goffin, that could be weird if he gets him or someone like that. Rusevori second round, you think 4 sets?
Yeah, maybe.
He should. Thiem and FAA, Medi should get through them. And then Dimitrov, it's like, well, that could be 5 sets. It could be an upset. So Dimitrov's draw. And then you look at Dimitrov and then you go, well, he's got a pretty, Fucsovic is tough and Ovner's been good and Fokina's not easy, but it looks pretty good considering who he's beaten lately. So that Medvedev Dimitrov 4th round is going to be, that has to be a nightmare. That's going to be a really fun one.
Yeah, that should be great. I think the only thing that makes me doubt whether Dimitrov can beat Medvedev is getting stuck in like the backhand to backhand because, I mean, Medvedev will murder him in the backhand to backhand. Like he will just grind him into dust. So Dimitrov is going to do his best to try and avoid having to hit a lot of backhands. It's going to be difficult. But if he can, then he's got a chance. And the thing is, the good thing about him is that he covers the court so well. Dimitrov, that's one good thing. And interestingly as well, like I've seen a lot of people like build their dream player or dream ATP players, and that's other players doing it. And I'm sure you've seen it. And a few people mentioned that for movement, they had Dimitrov instead of like Djokovic or Alcaraz, for flexibility because of the way that he moves. And I was like, okay, that's quite interesting. And I didn't really notice it. Like I knew he was a good mover, but I didn't put him up there in that kind of criteria. And then when they said that, like I started paying more attention, like when I was watching his matches, and I was like, actually, he does move really well. It's just he's a bit more limited, like than a Djokovic, for example, who can defend really well on the backhand side. He has to rely more on kind of hitting into out on the forehand, etc. And it's a bit different and slice more. But he's an interesting one. So I hope we get it because it'll be exciting. It'll be a shame if he doesn't, like after a good 2023, like at least pick up the year nicely for this one. But that'll be good as well. Well, that's interesting. I didn't know about this. Is Becker not with Rune in his box? Is that true?
He wasn't there. He wasn't there in Brisbane. There's only 2. The reasons are he's either not here yet because he just didn't come here for the start, and he's only going to go to the big events, kind of like Brad Gilbert with Goff, I guess. Just focusing on what's go to the big places. Or he can't come into Australia because didn't he get deported from the UK, and we do have like a bit of a connection with visas. I don't know if he just couldn't get a visa. Maybe that's another reason.
Yeah. But maybe because I know he's doing Tennis Channel work. So him and Kyrgios are going to be working together.
Is that Eurosport or Tennis Channel?
Oh, maybe it's Eurosport. Yeah, you're right. It's Eurosport.
Yeah,
Him
but
and
actually,
Kyrgios are doing it
because
together.
I thought that too.
Hilarious.
But I think he might be doing the German Eurosport. Because I thought that too. I'm like, there's no way they're going to put him in the same room after like they're
That'd be
just
hilarious.
going at each other.
I
And
love
they
it.
can't be that cruel. But then Becker would have probably been like, yeah, hire him. He wouldn't have cared. I don't think.
Yeah. Beck wouldn't care. I don't think.
But yeah, but they can do that remote. I don't know if they're going to like. They don't.
That's true.
Sometimes they don't necessarily have to come out here. They didn't have to come out here in 21.
Yeah, Eurosport. They do the and they have that funny little what's it called? Like player hologram, don't they?
Yeah,
It's hilarious. Yeah. Like I'm like, what's going? It's like a thing out of Star Wars. I was like,
that's true. Yeah, it is like
that. Literally, yeah. Oh gosh. There's a question: who is the first top player to lose for the men and women's? Oh,
you're giving away all my. You're asking me all the questions I'm going to put out in a video later.
Oh, really? It's right. Don't worry. People.
My predictions video is coming out.
People will only watch this if it's live. I doubt many people are going to watch this back. To be honest with you.
Well, you go first. I've got a couple, but I'll
do it. So I reckon.
Okay, I got it.
Even though I picked Tsitsipas to beat Berrettini, I'm going to go Tsitsipas. And then for the women's, I'm going to go with. I'd love to go Raducanu but I think she's going to beat Pliskova. That's the thing. I'll go Caroline Garcia. I think Osaka might do it. Yeah.
Okay. I went Tsitsipas. I think that even I was watching him do that charity thing yesterday with Djokovic, and I think he had a medical time out of the middle.
Oh my god! For exhibition.
They went to an extended ad break, and then they started like talking to like Goran, and they were doing this whole thing, and then Steph came back. And he joked that he went to the bathroom, and that's how he's like, oh, I'm kind of known for that, to have long bathroom breaks.
Yeah.
But then the commentators are like, I think he might have been getting a physio trainer.
Why is he doing that? I don't understand, because it's the same injury, isn't it? It's that shoulder. Is it a shoulder?
I thought somebody said a back, but
it's his back. Yeah, because ATP Finals is the back. Yeah, but what I don't get is if it's his back, right? Like, why is he even playing in this like charity like exhibition? Like, it's clearly been like at the start of the year when he was playing United Cup, he pulled out of one match, I remember, and he said because of my back. And then he was saying in the press conference, he was like, oh, like my back in comparison to ATP Finals, it's so much better. I should be fine. I'm just thinking, okay, but even if it's hurting somewhat, why are you still playing? And then for like this charity like exhibition, like why would he even bother playing it? Like Raducanu pulled out of hers against Osaka, probably because it's precautionary. And I'm like, good, like pull out of it. Like you can still give your money to charity. You just don't like, do you know what I mean? Like give your money to charity, just don't turn up. Like it's not a competitive match, so it's a weird one. And weirdly as well, like obviously Badosa struggled with stress fractures in her back as well for a whole year. So I don't know why they're both struggling with their backs, but I have no idea. But it's just crazy. Like, and now it makes me think even more so that he's going to struggle in that first round. But it's a shame, because I was hoping he's just going to be fit. But I don't know why you would mismanage yourself, and what is Thiem doing as well if they feel like. If he's taking a medical timeout for an exhibition, it's like, it didn't even look serious. I'm pretty sure he was rolling Djokovic around in a wheelchair by the looks of it. So,
okay, yeah, I know he played the mixed doubles thing as well, but they were saying like he's serving like, I don't know, it's exhibition, so maybe that's why too. But he was serving at like 3/4 pace, and he just looked. I think because I was like the first couple of games, he did like hit a shot and then just kind of like wince a little bit. And I was like, there's something going on here. And then he disappeared for 15 minutes. Back made a joke out of it. And you're like, you're not 100%. I don't trust you. And he's not playing well anyway. Hasn't been playing well for a couple of months. So it's like.
He hasn't, It's crazy. Oh, so apparently, Djokovic said he'd be Sunday night is what they are. That's what he said the exhibition. So Novak is playing Sunday, Sabalenka and Sakkari.
That's smart. They get 2 days off between first and second rounds.
It's good in a way as well, because they make the most of the weekend, right? Because I guess a lot of they'll get a good turnout.
Especially for the first time doing it, because a lot of people I've talked to like are like, oh, when are you starting the Australian Open? I'm like, oh, Sunday, and they're like, why would you do that? I'm like, oh, because they're starting on Sunday a day early. So I guess to make it like a big deal, like, hey, we're starting early
Yeah.
and this guy's playing, like, yeah, it makes sense that they put the big names on day one.
Yeah. It's good they're starting it. I actually think it's a good idea because,
Mhm.
especially with now like the scheduling and everything as well, all those issues, and now I know they're trying to resolve it, but it just gives a little bit of extra time. So why not? I'm not
Mhm.
saying that it should be 2.5 weeks, but
Yeah.
when you can kind of make small improvements like that, I think it can make a difference here
Yeah.
and there. One day's not going to change anyone's schedule drastically, I imagine.
No.
But yeah. Does anyone have a chance of winning the Australian Open bar Djokovic? Yeah, I mean, there's a few people, I'm sure.
Yeah. I think Sinner's a big one.
Is Sinner your second favorite then behind Djokovic?
Yeah, like he's my most like he's the one that I want to see play Djokovic the most.
Yeah.
Like Alcaraz Djokovic is always fun, but I really want to see Djokovic take on Sinner because Sinner beats him 2 out of 3 in 2 weeks at the end of last year, and Wimbledon didn't do that well against Djokovic considering the year before they played a 5-setter.
Yeah.
So I feel like on a hard court in 5 sets, that's what I want to see Sinner do now against Djokovic because then that's what Alcaraz did. That's how Alcaraz went from like he beats him in Madrid, then he goes to the French last year, doesn't do, unfortunately, cramps. Then he does it at Wimbledon, and he kind of like, okay, and then Cincinnati happens, and it becomes a real like close thing. It's like, okay, let's see if Sinner can do that now, if he's on that Grand Slam level, which is really what matters at the end of the day. And then, look, Medvedev, it's so hard to know what he's going to do because he's not playing, he hasn't played, but he makes the final. I think he'll have a much better week tournament this year than last year. Last year he was coming in like low on confidence. He hadn't had many wins, and then he loses the quarter, and it was like, oh, here we go. But now he's like US Open final. He's semifinals of Wimbledon. Like he should. Medvedev might be able to get to the. Medvedev Sinner final would be an interesting one if Sinner was to beat Djokovic and Medvedev beats Alcaraz. That'd be kind of a wild final.
Yeah, that would be really wild actually, because Medvedev's obviously won a slam. He's also lost like a few finals as well.
Yeah.
And then to play Sinner, who's never played one, it's like how does he react to a final? Where no, Alcaraz, when he reacted to his first final, I guess he was playing Rude, so he hasn't won a slam. But Rude had been in the final before, and then Alcaraz didn't let it like phase him at all. So would Sinner do the same, or would he potentially react differently? But is Djokovic your pick then? Is he your pick?
Yeah. I think I learned last year. You just pick Djokovic. Maybe Alcaraz on clay. Maybe this year. But yeah, it's just like, well, it's Djokovic, and if he doesn't win, then something crazy happened, like Wimbledon last year. It's sort of like the same thing.
Yeah, I actually, for my 2024 predictions, before obviously seeing this draw as well, I picked a different winner for each slam, and then I've basically already gone back on my Australian Open predictions, so it's classic. So I was just like,
well, up until yesterday, I was happy with my predictions, and then Rebecca went and played Adelaide and lost, so I was like, oh no.
Oh, so I had picked Sabalenka before seeing her play, and then when I looked at the draw and seeing how Rebecca was playing, I was like, oh, Rebecca. And then obviously I saw she lost yesterday, but I'm not going to take that loss. I wouldn't take that loss to heart too much because I feel like she probably was playing at almost like half speed because she knows, okay, I don't want to get injured as well. And I think you were saying when you're doing the stream that you would be surprised if she even plays it. So I think, I think in my opinion, she's the favorite to win it. I think she's looking the best. I know Świątek's there as well, but Świątek's draw is horrific.
Yeah.
Actually, I've got to ask you because her draw is horrendous. I think I've got it here. So she's got one of the worst draws. she's got Kenin, potentially Collins, who she lost to obviously 2 years ago at the Australian Open, Buzkova or Noskova. Then she's got Kudermetova. And quarterfinals is, I think it's Vondrousova or Ostapenko or Azarenka. If it's Ostapenko, Świątek fans are going to be like, what the hell? No, because semi-finals would be Rybakina, final Sabalenka. If she wins the Australian Open, beating some these players, if there aren't some massive upsets, which there could be, if it doesn't open up for her and she beats these players and wins it, then I've just got to just clap and be like, you know what, that's incredible because I would be so surprised. Honestly, it's just craziness. Absolutely crazy. What did you think?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, like I said at the start, the second the draw come out and the first match was Kenin versus Świątek, it's like, oh no. And then you see Collins straight under that, you're like, oh no. And then they started bringing it out, and you're like, where's Ostapenko? She's up there. Okay, Raducanu, she's up there. It's just like, we can't catch a break if you're a Świątek fan. But I mean, even like Svitolina in a fourth round who beat her at Wimbledon, that's tough.
As well. Yeah.
But I think she had a couple of injury worries in Auckland. And Kudermetova, beat her last time they played, even though the record is still pretty one-sided. But it was like the last time they played that was Kudermetova got a win. Ostapenko, we all know about that. Raducanu, we all know about that.
She's never beaten Ostapenko. It's 4-0.
Yeah.
Like it's 4-0. It's crazy.
Yeah, I guess like the good thing is as well. I mean, the silver lining is most of the players. I mean, the only players that you would bank on being there would be Raducanu if she plays like she has been, and maybe like Svitolina if she's healthy, because they're so like they're getting like they don't lose randomly like very often, unless, I mean, last night I guess an exception, but they are reliable enough. Whereas Ostapenko could lose in the first round, she could win, and so at least Ostapenko's far enough away. Like there's 4 matches between now and the quarters, so she could lose. So that's a good thing if you're a Świątek fan. And then same with I mean, like there's other players like Zhang is in that same half.
Yeah, it's dangerous.
I guess Pegula's still there as well if she can get through Raducanu and through the quarterfinals.
Raducanu, Cam, come on.
Oh, Raducanu's there, yeah. I mean, yeah, Raducanu Zhang. I want to see that. I want to see.
I want to see that. I unfortunately think, Zhang would destroy her. I have a bad feeling. I just think it would be exciting. It might be exciting for a set, but I'd be surprised if like Raducanu even takes a set off her. I feel like she's still kind of like coming back, and she looked good. Yeah. Although, did you see her against Svitolina? The first, was it 2 sets? Yeah, first 2 sets she looked really good, I thought.
Yeah,
and then she fell off third set, but she also had strapping on her. I think it was like a right thigh or something, or hamstring, and I was just thinking, how has she already got strapping and she's just come back? That does worry me when I see stuff like that.
Yeah. I think it's more precaution too. She's coming back from not playing for a long time. She's gonna be sore. So I just hope she gets through a couple of rounds. It would be cool to see Zhang Raducanu, and then they put that on like, I don't know, like Margaret Court on a night session on like the Friday or something. That'd be really fun, because I mean Raducanu is so popular. They're going to be able to get people to watch her. So
yeah, definitely. Charles says, "Cue your Netflix curses part 2." I'm telling you, it's going to be crazy for day one. Oh, it's hilarious.
Tracking that one. There wasn't as many players in part 2 though, or number 2.
That's true. Yeah, that's
they
true.
all figured it out.
The funniest is Sabalenka going, "What effing Netflix curse?" And she wins it after.
That's true. Yeah,
I was like, "Yeah, you're saying that now. That's because the Netflix curse is for the next year's Sabalenka. So if you lose early, then it will be Netflix curse." So it's fantastic. But yeah.
So who's in the Netflix curse now?
I think it's Sabalenka, Shelton. Yes. Is Zachary in? Is she a main?
So the first and last episode, she's. Oh, is it first and second last episodes?
Oh, okay, she's in it, yeah. And then there's
Pegula's in it more.
Tommy Paul's in it, right?
Yep.
As Zverev, obviously.
Zverev, yeah, he's
There's so much heat, obviously, from him being included. It's so interesting. Like,
I've heard
not happy about that. Yeah, and was there another one I missed?
Rune's in.
Rune, Rune's in it. Yeah, he's episode 2. I've only seen the first episode to be fair so far. I'm watching it with my wife, you see, so I'm going at like slow motion, watching it. So
that's good. I thought it was. I wish it was more. I wish they, 6 episodes is a little. Like they stop it, like it ends pretty quick. You're like, right, it's better than last year. I thought it was like better. They do it better.
Yeah. Do they include the ATP finals?
No, they don't talk about.
See, that's they should have the. I mean, I guess it's difficult because the ATP finals is towards the back end of the year, right? So if you're going to try and release it before the Australian Open the next year, like there's a very short window. So I guess they want to do it so they release it before the Slam season starts, which is difficult. But Yeah, because that's like a really fun part of the calendar, right? Because that's the best playing the best, and that's like I feel like you
Yeah.
get really good coverage of that, especially if you're in the like locker room as well, like talking to the players. Like I feel like that'd be quite cool, but yeah, maybe not. Ghosts, have you all discussed Ofner Kokkinakis? I feel like that could be a good one. Yeah, that's like a 50-50. What do you think of that one for Tanasi?
I think Kokkinakis has pulled out of Kooyong today, so I don't know. I think he might be injured.
Okay.
So I don't know. I don't know if Kokkinakis is going to be if they're playing. I mean, Ofner's been playing well lately, I think as well,
Yeah,
right?
he's
On
been
a
playing quite
smaller.
well.
So yeah, that could be awesome. But if
Yeah.
Kokkinakis is not healthy, then that sucks.
One under the radar.
Mm.
And Ghost saying Draper, now that he's healthy, is also showing off his moving skills, particularly at UTS. He's quite agile for a big fella. Yeah, like some of the running forehands he was hitting, I was like, this is like Rafa. I was like, what is? I'm not even, and I was like, I'm not even. I think I'm even getting carried away. Like obviously, I'm not watching the highlights, right? So
Yeah.
it's not the whole match, but like to win the match, he passed Paul with like a running forehand. Like I was like, what? And it like kind of looped in, and I was like, what the hell? I literally I looked at it, I watched it, and I rewound it. And I only rewind on points where I just can't believe what I've just seen. So like rewound it back to watch it again. And I was just thinking, what the hell? Like there was quite a few of those. And they're running forehands like he just hit winners from like 2 meters behind the baseline, like down the line. I'm like, what in the world? And Tommy Paul just didn't even know what hit him. And I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Absolutely crazy. But yeah, interesting. Rune said he's not going to be there for it, but he'll be back for Rotterdam. That's so weird that Becker's not going to be there. I reckon
Yeah.
that's to do with the TV deal, but that's a shocker,
Yeah.
isn't it? Like, wouldn't you? Surely you'd want Boris, like, for the Australian Open, like you want him for the Slams. That's nuts.
Yeah. Like I said before, I wonder if it is because he can't get. I mean, we know how hard it was to get for Djokovic to get an exemption 2 years ago, right? So,
Yeah.
I mean, Boris went to prison, so you're like, well, are they going to? Would he get a visa if he's got a criminal record? So you wonder if it's maybe
That's
just
true.
a
That's a good
working
point.
visa problem.
Yeah, that's a good point. Actually, that's a really good point.
Because whereas in
I didn't
Europe, he's
think
got a
about
Euro passport, yeah. So he can't. I don't think he can go to the UK because that's
Yeah.
where he got kicked out of.
that.
So he can go anywhere in Europe because of what is it?
Schengen.
The EU, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Having a passport and you can just go wherever you want
Yeah.
within the EU. So
Yeah, I think that's is what yours. Yeah, I heard Becker is still on probation and can't travel. Was that legit? Mate, it sounds like Prison Break. It's like actually
it's probably not
crazy.
a bad thing though, because well, when you get to episode 2, you'll know that what how Rune goes with coaches. So
Oh, really?
it might not be a bad thing.
I haven't seen it yet. Oh, interesting. Something to look forward to. Clearly,
Episode 2 is good. I think there's Rune was Rune's introduction is really good. I thought it was good.
Yeah,
he's got
very
Severin
driven
Luthi too. Remember, he's got Severin Luthi. Charles just said because he
Oh,
got him on the board last year. So maybe
oh yeah,
he's
he's
coming
got
in.
Severin, right? Yeah, who's
So he doesn't need
Federer's
Becker
ex-coach.
anyway.
Yeah, it doesn't need him.
Yeah.
Who needs a multi-Grand Slam champion? Who cares? Yeah.
Get Federer's old coach.
Federer's old. Yeah, it's all good. Let me get Tony Nadal in as well.
Yeah.
So it says, who wins the next match between Carlos and Nole, and will they meet during this Australian Open? Oh, don't know. Cam?
That's a tough one. Look, I'm always like I'm always on like we're not going to see it, and if we see it, it's great. So kind of like not getting excited because most of the time it's like, yeah, we're going to see it. It's like we've got
it never happens.
a lot of time between two in that match.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say no, we're not going to see it here at the Australian Open. But I think the next time they'll play will be maybe in like Indian Wells. Like Djokovic coming back probably wants to prove a point that he, because he wasn't allowed to play. Alcaraz on the slow hard courts dominated last year. So maybe like an Indian Wells, or maybe a Madrid or Rome before the French. I think we'll probably get them in a best of 3 before we get them in best of 5 again.
Yeah, I agree. I think we'll see them at Roland Garros. I don't think we'll see them. Yeah. I think they might. I mean, I'd be surprised if they don't play before Roland Garros. I think they'll play in a best of 3. But I, just because of the way the draw looks to the Australian Open, like I could easily see Alcaraz losing before the final. I don't see Djokovic losing before the final, but I just think for Alcaraz, he's got a really tough route. So yeah, we'll see. But maybe he does. I mean, if he does, it'd be incredible if he makes the final and plays him, and maybe we're in for another thrilling final. But let's not get our hopes up yet.
It would be cool. It would be cool to see them play. I mean, we always say how we didn't get to see Federer and Nadal at the US, but it would be cool if, like, over the brief overlap we have between these two guys, we get them seeing it play at like every slam once.
Yeah,
we've only got 2 out of 4, right? So
yeah,
cool to
get
them playing, playing all the slams at once, and then we can kind of, then Djokovic retires or whatever, and then we watch Alcaraz for the next decade. But that'd be fun. Hope maybe this year, maybe not, maybe.
Yeah, that'd be great actually to see. I agree, because actually I would have thought Wimbledon would have been the last one that they play together, because I didn't think Alcaraz was going to win Wimbledon for a few years. I thought if he wins another slam, it was going to be Roland Garros or even the Australian Open. But I think everyone thought his first slam was going to be Roland Garros, and it ended up being the US Open, which is a bit of like a wild card. And then it's like Wimbledon, you're like, what? And then it's just so random. But because he's got such a like good all-round game, you feel like he can win any slam. But at the start, everyone was just saying, "Oh, he's going to win Roland Garros because he loves clay." But that doesn't seem to be the case. And then he came out and said, "No, actually, my favorite surface is hard court." And you're like, "Okay, fair enough."
Yeah,
you're wrong. But yeah, I hope said TFO and Chorich on Sunday. That's a good matchup as well.
Cool. But did the schedule come out? Because I know it's probably supposed to come out today.
Yes, there was a schedule that came out, but they haven't specifically said what's the night match, etc. They've said what the matches are for Sunday.
Oh, okay.
I saw it, I think, but have I saved it down? They've got some good. There's some good matches on there, but yeah, the biggest ones are Sabalenka, Djokovic, Sakari, TFO Chorich is a good one as well.
Yeah.
Okay. Cam's like, it's time to set up my streams.
Yeah, I'm just thinking like, how's my life look on Sunday? Do I have any?
Do I have a life on Sunday apart from tennis?
Do I need to stock up now?
What do you stock up on to keep you awake?
I just stock up on food, really, just so I don't have to get Uber Eats every day. I try and save on food, just cook a bunch of stuff before the tournament, and then tea is a big one. Get a lot of tea. Make sure I have a lot of tea. But
what's your go-to food, like pasta or what?
Oh, just chicken and vegetables. Nothing crazy.
Very healthy.
Yeah, I'm trying to be. It's the first month of the year. You got to try in the first month.
Comes resolution. So what was it in December then? That's what
don't. Christmas is a write-off. We don't.
Dogs and oven pizza and nuggets.
December's, you're allowed to do whatever you want in December. It's fine. You can eat whatever you want in December. There's no diet in December.
Oh, I love it. I absolutely love it. Actually says there's Novak look injured though. I haven't watched him this year. Just curious. No, see, the warm up he didn't. What did he watch any of the exhibition? Did he? I'm assuming he didn't look injured in that. To be honest, when he was playing.
Yeah, it's so hard because, like, I watched, I went to the qualies on Wednesday, and I watched him hit with Zverev, and I was looking, and I mean, he's wearing a sweatband on his arm, so you don't know if it's taped. You'd assume it was.
Yeah.
He didn't like flex it or anything. He wasn't stretching it out, so you think having a week off maybe everything calmed down. But like we saw it against Dimitrov, I mean, he said that it was fine when he walked out, and then halfway through the first set, he said it's getting worse. So once he starts returning against big servers, that's when, because Zverev wasn't practicing super hardcore either. I mean, so, he doesn't look injured, but then that first round, I mean, somebody kept saying like Popperin second round, that could be really tough. It could be tough if Popperin serves big and Djokovic does have a wrist problem. And the crowd, but yeah, it's it might be one of those things where it's like it feels fine, but then he just hits something the wrong way, and it makes it hurts on the day. But he's come in, like he said I think he said in a press conference that last year I was injured and I came in. He lost one set. He got he tore something like his abdomen or something.
His abdomen, wasn't it?
2 years before, and won the event. So you're like, it's not. He comes in injured anyway, and he wins. So.
Yeah.
I don't think it's much of a concern, especially with a nice draw.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I feel like with the wrist, like as you said, it can just tweak, and it's a bit of a weird niggly one because it's his right wrist, isn't it? So he's going to have to use it. It's impossible. It's like one of the most used like parts of your body when you're playing tennis, right? So
you can't wear you can't have something that just keeps your arms stiff because then you can't hit the ball properly.
Yeah, you like generate no topspin. Like it's just
you need the flexibility.
Yeah, exactly. So you need that flex in your wrist. So it's really difficult. If it's his left wrist, then it might affect his backhand, but at least he wouldn't mind that because it's not affecting your forehand, your serve as much as well. So it's not really a massive issue. But because it's right wrist. But yeah, I mean, from what I saw, and I forgot actually you watched him, so I should have just asked you. You saw him in the flesh, so I'll take your word for it that he looked pretty good.
Yeah, but he just was hitting. It's hard. Like those training sessions. I mean, Alcaraz's training session in the flesh was way more intense. As Zverev and Djokovic was just trying to get the ball over the net. They weren't really trying to do too much crazy, but
yeah.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what Statman Pat says here. Djokovic has been injured before in the Australian Open and won every time since 2019. Yeah, exactly.
What was his 2020 problem when he came in 2020? I can't remember.
Oh,
he must have had something wrong there.
I don't know. Actually, in 2020, that wasn't the abdomen, was it? That was 2021.
That was 21. He did that. He tweaked that.
Yeah,
I remember it was against
Fritz. I remember Fritz. Yeah. Fritz is just he's cannon fodder for anyone with an injury. Like Nadal destroyed him as well with an abdomen injury, so he must hate abdomen injuries. That's what I'm gonna say. Absolutely hate them. John Millman, yeah. What about John Millman? Were you surprised he didn't get a wild card?
Yeah, I saw every now and again I'll see something that I'm like, oh, that was a bit weird, and then he lost, and they said there was all these posts from like Tennis Australia and stuff. I'm like, let's see what the comments look like. Comments were just like, how dare you not give him a wild card? What a terrible way to send off a champion. He's been so good. And I agree with all of that. I think that I can't believe he didn't get a wild card. They made him play qualies, and then there's always a risk he was going to lose and then finish his career in the qualies. You're like, he at least deserved the John Cain Arena first round wild card send off against somebody. Like Rod Laver against Djokovic, you're not going to get that unless the draw plays. But it's just like how you made the man who. It's not like he was just like, he was a really good Aussie, journeyman. It was like, no, he beat Federer at the US Open in 2018. He pushed Federer in 5 sets at this tournament a while back. He was great, like Davis Cup guy. He was He was like the head cheerleader at this year's United Cup. He did so much for everybody, and then it's like, we're not going to give you a wild card. We're going to give it to a bunch of people, and he would have brought a crowd. I mean, everyone would have gone to see him because he was such a great personality. I feel like it might have been a little bit. He is a bit outspoken on social media, so I think maybe that might have hurt his.
What did he? Outspoken about what though?
Just a lot of stuff about different things on the tender. I don't know if it, specifically the Australian Open or anything, but he has been he has said he doesn't hold back when something comes up. So you wonder if maybe that had something to do with it, but still, people were upset, and I'm the same. I'm like, I would have loved to see him play. I remember 4 years ago in 2020 Australian Open, he took Federer to 5, and it was like, he gave so many people so many moments. They should have given him one. Yeah, Stammen Pad just said they didn't give him a wild card, but they gave it to Walton, Kipson, and McCabe, and they might all be 18-year-olds or 19-year-old kids, but it's like, well, let them play qualies because they're going to get theirs eventually, and it'll be good quality. It'll be good, a good chance. Give Millman a bloody wild card, but yeah, it was. I was disappointed, and everyone on social media seemed to be pretty annoyed too that the farewell was in the qualies when nobody even. Well, there was a lot of people to be fair there, but it's like give the man a send off, but.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's playing doubles. Is he? Is he playing doubles? Maybe give him a second chance to have an actual send off.
That'll be good, wouldn't it? He is. Don't know actually. He's playing doubles.
I guess the equivalent would be making I was going to say Dan Evans play qualies at Wimbledon instead of giving him a wild card at the end, but maybe not Dan Evans.
Maybe
Somebody
like
looks like the top 50 at best.
John Millman, yeah. It's maybe like, I don't know, it's a good equivalent.
Yeah, I can't think.
But no, I get your point. It's just a shame, isn't it?
Yeah.
I was surprised actually they didn't. And I know they want to give it to the youngsters, but as you said, like the youngsters should, like John Millman and all the others when they were younger, they would have had to gone through qualifiers, right? So
yeah.
It's weird that they just kind of gave them the wild cards and kind of completely ignored someone like him as well, knowing that it's going to be his last tournament. So strange, but
and knowing that people would have definitely been like if they put him on even on Kia Arena, it would have been a sellout. It would have been like everyone would have shown up. It would have been a crazy atmosphere because we all want to celebrate like the final time one of the Aussies play. So it would have been. I mean, they missed an opportunity. They would have. I mean, nobody's going to watch these guys that they don't know. They go watch the Aussies, but it's not going to be the same as John Millman, who everybody knows. So,
yeah, agreed. Peter said, question, should top players not play before a big tournament? I guess that kind of is in line with what we were saying, that if someone plays a tournament before and they win the slam, they're like, yeah, they should play. And then if they don't and they win it, you're like, they shouldn't.
yeah.
But generally, though, do you think it's a good idea or a bad idea for players to play?
I mean, yeah. I don't think any top player should be playing this week. And now I had that, and that's like Raducanu was the big one because she wins Brisbane, she goes to Adelaide. I watched her play the first match, and it was she didn't look good. And you go, well, is she playing here because she has to play because she signed the contracts or stuff or what? Because she wins Brisbane, smacks Sabalenka. Now she's coming in after losing straight sets to Alexandrova, and you're like, oh, coming in on Sabalenka, beating her, bageling her would have been. There's the confidence. Now it's kind of like, well, what now? But then if you're talking about players who haven't played anything, yeah, we don't know. We'll find out. If Medvedev wins the Australian Open, it will be a genius move. He will be a genius. But if he loses second round, we'll be like, well, should have played. So it'll come down to, I guess Medvedev is the guinea pig, isn't he? We got to see.
Yeah.
If he plays,
Rude was the guinea pig last year and he flopped, right?
Yeah.
By missing, he didn't play. Well, actually, what happened? He had his. Actually, no, he played exhibitions. Then he didn't play before the Australian Open. He didn't play well at the Australian Open. And then he said, "Oh, I'm going to have an off season after the Australian Open, or after Miami, was it? Indian Wells or something? Something
no,
weird."
he missed out. Yeah, because he did that whole like Nadal exhibition in December, and he just played like all the time.
Yeah.
Because then after the Australian Open, he's like, you know what? I'm taking February off. I'm not going to play those clay events.
Yeah.
And that kind of just messed him up for most of the year until the French Open final. And then he kind of messed with his schedule and messed with his rhythm, I guess.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like, and that was such a weird decision to not have an off season, and then going to the Australian Open with almost kind of playing it as if it was just. I guess maybe he was thinking I made the US Open final, so I should go into
and the ATP finals as well, didn't he? So he would have been pretty confident with himself.
So he's probably like, it's all good. I'll be fine. Yeah. Goes, Kenin will dominate. Well, she has to beat Świątek in the first round, so that'll be difficult.
That's not impossible that she can do that. And
I agree.
That would be Świątek losing first round. I mean, I don't know if she's lost at the first round in major recently.
Yeah, in a while. It
5
must be
years.
A long time. Yeah, maybe.
The best player on the planet lose. And it's funny because I said this as soon as the draw came out. I'm like, well, she's only lost in the first round once, and that was Wimbledon in 2019. I think that was like the year. Was that the same year that she won the juniors, or the year after, maybe? So she only ever lost the first round once.
Yeah.
And to do it, like, she hasn't. I'm looking at her thing. She hasn't, like, since 2019, she's made it to the third round or better. Wimbledon third round was her worst result recently when she lost to Cornet. Every other thing is like fourth round, semifinal, quarterfinal, win. If she lost to Kenin first round, that could be upset of the year on day one. Like, it'd be crazy.
Yeah, that would be. I mean, that'd be absolute carnage, wouldn't it? To be honest, if that happened.
Yeah. And like the best thing that could have happened to Sabalenka was losing the World number 1 ranking, because she lost to Kenin before Christmas in the exhibition, and that would have been a rematch. Then Collins, so Sabalenka having lost the number 1 ranking at the WTA finals might have actually been the best thing to help her win the Australian Open again.
Yeah.
So it's a tough one.
That's true. Garcia plays Osaka. Yep, in round 1. That'll be an exciting one. Who do you pick to win that one, by the way?
I'll go Osaka. I just want Osaka to win, because I've got her in my top 10 at the end of the year, so I need her to win.
So do I. I've got her at 10.
I need her to get off to a good start, so it kind of makes us feel a bit better. If she starts getting towards the top 100 again, okay. If she loses first round, we've got to wait a couple more weeks.
Yeah. I mean, it'll be exciting, that's for sure. I mean, Garcia plays such an exciting round. Tennis coming forward, and Osaka from the baseline is just huge from the baseline. So that'll be great to watch. So I'm just looking.
And Garcia coming, I think Garcia this year, having dropped off so dramatically last year, probably help her. And look, everyone's going to be going for it, thinking Osaka's going to win. I don't know the betting, but I'm assuming that maybe it's 50-50. But I mean, Garcia, that's a great opportunity for her to start strong after a bad 12 months. So
yeah, agreed. And Garcia actually at the United Cup looked pretty good. So see whether she's able to pick it up as well. Blast the questions, Ghost says, Penko can never lose. She just chooses not to win. Did you see her interview actually after her match in Adelaide? And they asked her, and they said, "Oh, what have you done in the off season?" She goes, "Oh, I'm trying to be more consistent," which is like, okay, that's fine. And she goes, "You might find this funny, but I'm trying to be more aggressive in my play." And she's like, "I found the last few years I was trying to be more accurate, but I think I need to be more aggressive in the way that I play." And I was just thinking, winners, but also a whole host of unforced errors incoming. I was like, but I guess that's the way she plays. So she's just kind of embracing it. And in a way, she's almost like, at the moment, she's almost like how Shapovalov should be for the men's side. In all honesty, they're very similar type players. Shapo's got bigger serve, I guess, but Penko, it's just she's so funny. To say to be more aggressive is just absolutely hilarious. I don't know. Is there going to be automatic line calls at the Australian Open? Do you know?
Yeah. There were when I was walking around. There was no lines people, which is weird, but it's gonna. I think next year they're going to do that for every tournament on the ATP WTA. So it's not going to go backwards. But automatic line. I mean, all the tournaments. I think Auckland has lines people, but everywhere else, Adelaide, Brisbane, I think all had automatic.
Oh, really? Okay. So that means Australia's going full automatic line calls, line judges. You have to retrain in something else, unfortunately. Ashley said, what did you think of how they portrayed Medi and Breakpoint? I haven't seen that, but I know you have. So what did you think? I've heard that they kind of painted him out to be a little bit of a villain, a little bit.
Yeah, he's in this Zverev episode as kind of like that, because the focus is Zverev and his comeback and stuff. So they kind of have Medi as the opposition to Zverev's, and that's what I liked about the Breakpoint series this year, is they actually followed a lot of the on-court stories that we all thought they should have followed last year. Last year, they followed players who at tournaments that were but this was they kind of built on that Medvedev Zverev rivalry last year. I mean, I thought having Medi in it was great. I'm glad they got him to play a small part, even if it was the villain. But the thing is, if and like you were saying with the Zverev episode was controversial, a lot of people were not happy with it. If you know anything about tennis, you know that Medvedev's not really the villain. Zverev has also been a villain. There's almost two villains. So, for different reasons. So it, I thought Medvedev was. I think Medvedev plays that part anyway. I don't think he would be like, oh man, they made me look bad. I think he'd be like, yeah, well,
he doesn't care.
Yeah,
he doesn't care. But he's more of a real like caricature almost, like
Yeah,
Medvedev. I
yeah,
feel like he plays it and he's got a lot of like there's a lot of comical parts to him as well. Like maybe they didn't manage to show. I haven't watched it, but I'm assuming
yeah,
that's the case. So yeah,
yeah.
I mean it's a shame. Maybe he'll have an episode. Although I guess they're focusing on players that haven't won slams yet, aren't they? So and he's
Mm.
already won one. So I heard him say, little cheeky, "Oh, I've won a slam and he's won Olympics, and that's great. But obviously, a
He's-
slam's a bit better than the Olympics." And I was like, "You're not wrong." I was like, "Fair enough. You can
yeah,
say that." He's just very honest, isn't he?
yeah.
In
No,
all
I
his,
loved it. I thought Medvedev being in it was good, even though, yeah, they did try and be like, Sasha's comeback is the hero story, and this guy's in the
yeah,
way, and you got to have that, otherwise it doesn't make sense. But you don't have a hero and a villain, then the story kind of what is it? What is it? So, but I thought it was fine. I think they portrayed it pretty accurately, to be honest. He does do a lot of those weird things, and in fact, and I won't give too much away, but when you watch it, um, it'd be interesting. Like I think it was interesting to see the reaction from Zverev's camp when Medvedev was doing things because they were like, "Oh, he's doing this and this and this." Because when we're watching it live, you don't really you think about like, "Oh,
yeah,
Medvedev's been Medvedev," but you don't think about it from the Zverev point of view and how
yeah,
like he's like waiting and waiting and they're stalling and all that. So I thought that was really interesting. But again, I mean, we all know who Medvedev is, and he is that guy. So I think they portrayed him pretty normal. I don't think it was
yeah.
bad.
It's fair. Yeah, I agreed. Statman Pat says thoughts on Chapo coming back. I don't have many thoughts to be honest.
No, not
I'm
much.
very much of the opinion that until I see some sort of run at a tournament, I'm going to have very low expectations of him just
Yep.
because he has been on and off for a while on court, but he's been injured for a while as well. What do you think?
Yeah, who's he playing? I know he's playing like a. Is he playing a quali early or is he playing someone?
Yeah, he's playing a qualifier, I think,
Yeah. So that I mean
from
that could
memory.
be good. It could be bad. Um. Yeah, I'm the same. Don't really have much. Like I would love it for him to go out there and play like an unseeded 100 in the world and just play free and not really. I mean, no one's expecting anything from him, so maybe that's a good thing. Maybe he can play like he plays, but yeah, I'm not really. When Shabo starts winning, then then we can start focusing on him. I reckon. Give us some
Yeah, I
hope.
agree. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, exactly. Oh, good one. How deep can Dimino go? We're going to see Dimino Drape. I don't know if they can meet actually, but
That'll
yeah,
be fun.
yeah.
Even
I
on
don't know,
Murray
but
again.
yeah. Well, the thing is, like with Dimino before the draw came out, I said I don't think it would be that much of a surprise if he made like a quarterfinal.
Mm.
But then the draw
Yeah.
came out, and I think his draw is not great from memory. I forgot who I had him losing to, but I had him going out in round 3 or round 4, I think,
Yeah.
Dimino. But what do you think? I mean, how far can he go, do you think? What are your expectations?
Um. Yeah, I'm looking at it now. So he's got Raonic first round, which is awkward, but you think achieve like Raonic hasn't played. I can't think of
Yeah,
like he played last year, but not recently. Analdi in the second could be
should win that.
interesting. Jarry in the third, but then again, I mean, he was great last year, but like this year, he's kind of been all over the place. Quarter Rublev potential fourth round. I think that's probably where it ends. Because
Yeah,
I think like Rublev, if Quarter gets to the fourth round, he's beaten Rublev to do it. So he must be back to what he was doing last year. But if Rublev gets the fourth round, you would say Rublev Diminor could be 5 sets. But yeah, I think probably fourth round. I'm expecting him to make the fourth round. He won't. I don't think he beats Sinner in the quarters if he got that far. But I'd say fourth round. Look, if you're an Aussie in the chat, like watching Leighton every year at the Australian Open through the 2000s was the exact same thing. He was the best Australian. We were all getting excited. He made the fourth round, he'd lose. He made it past one fourth round in his entire career, and that was when he made the final. So I'm like, and Diminor is baby Leighton in some respects. So I'm like, is it going to be like a fourth round curse for him as well? Because Leighton's
yeah,
associated with him. Maybe it depends on Rublev gets out the way, then quarterfinal, plays Sinner, probably loses, but plays Sinner. best case scenario, I think. But fourth round would be a pass for me. I think that'd be a good fourth round.
Solid, wouldn't it?
Yeah. If you're top 10, if you're top 16, getting to the round of 16 is a pass, right? So
yeah, I mean, seeded 10, isn't he? So
yeah. So quarterfinal would be, means you have beaten a top 8 guy, right? So
yeah, agreed. Yeah, I think he's had a great start to the year, so hopefully, take some momentum into it would be good, wouldn't it? Kevin said Aussie Open usually has a player who blazes through unexpectedly. Who will he/she be this year?
Yeah, that's a hard one on the men's. I mean, Osaka for the ladies, but it doesn't really. I mean, she blazed through in the comeback. Wouldn't be really a new person, but
yeah. I think you said about Noskova or like Zheng Xinwen. I feel like they can do something, because they haven't done the Australian Open, right? I mean, I know Zheng made the quarterfinals of the US Open last year, but she hasn't gone further than that, so she could be one. On the men's side, it's difficult. I mean, could like Korda go deeper this year? Shelton, maybe. I mean, they're up there as well. Draper. I'm gonna go Draper.
Yeah, Draper could be the man.
Yeah.
Especially if Draper, and again, it's a possibility that he beats Paul second round, gets to the fourth round, plays Alcaraz, and it's a 5-setter, and everyone's like, who's that guy? Because everyone's been like, well, Alcaraz is the champion of Wimbledon, and Djokovic, Slayer, and all that stuff. And then if Draper was to push Alcaraz in a fourth round, I think that would really, because he's definitely it's like the Aussies in Australia. Like most of the Australian public know of the Aussies, because they do well here, and then maybe the rest of the world don't. So most of the casual fans in Australia won't know who Draper is. So
they won't,
that would be eye-opening for he would blaze through to the fourth round and play Alcaraz, push him into 5. That would get a lot of people's attention. So it may be Draper on the men's side, and I don't know, the women's side's tough. Andreeva, but we all know who she is. So
Noskova you mentioned as well as a good pick.
Yeah, she's going to have to beat Świątek to make it worthwhile. But I can't think of anyone else. I mean, most of the other stuff, like Osaka, is known, so it wouldn't be that big of a deal. I know. I can't think of anyone else. Someone I've been talking about the last couple of days as well. I don't know if she'd make it through the qualies, but it's Korneva, and she is she is the player who beat Andreeva in the final of the juniors last year.
Okay.
And I'm trying to think of what her first name is. But she was like the world number 1 junior. She's been there for she won I think the Australian Open, French Open juniors, and then maybe semis of Wimbledon. But she is someone who's in the qualies now. If she gets through and gets a good draw, she could be the Andreeva of this year. Because her, the difference between her and Andreeva is Andreeva got the wild card to Madrid and she didn't, and then everyone got to see Andreeva. So I feel like, Korneva, if she makes it to the qualies, that could be someone maybe gets a second or third round with a good draw, maybe cause an upset. But that's someone who I'm looking at if they make the main draw, just to see, okay, well, this is it's kind of like, I guess, Sinner and Alcaraz 4 years ago, those two young guys who were like, oh, these are the next. I think that could be kind of Korneva, Andreeva are kind of like that. We all know what Andreeva's done, so it'd be interesting. So she's someone I'm looking at, but I don't know if she'll have an unexpected blaze through run because we don't know what the draw is going to look like for quality.
That's true. No, true. Guys, thanks for the 5. Since the start of the 24th season, we want to know how many times will Sun fall asleep in the middle of a stream this year. I'd say 5+. You know what, actually? Towards the back end of the year, I found the perfect formula to combat my sleepiness and 1-year-old and and all sorts going on. So hopefully that works, and it won't be any, but we'll see. What's this? Oh no, we've got that. Yeah, how did Millman? Yeah, we went over that. Yeah, exactly. Kevin says, "Oh, harsh from Kevin. Wildcards are not lifetime achievement for Millman or Venus or Wozniacki." I mean, Wozniacki, to be fair though, I mean, she should do all right. She looked pretty good in the comeback so far. She's won tournament before. And I mean, she's only played one match, lost to Svitolina in the first round. What was it, the ASB Classic or whatever? But do you think she can do anything at the Australian Open, or too early?
I was, so Wozniak is a strange one because, like, I was not annoyed, but I was a little disappointed that she didn't play after the US Open. She just was kind of like, all right, season's over. And you're like, oh, I thought this was a comeback. You just kind of, you came back and you played a couple of tournaments that you got in for free. You had a good match against Goff, and then you kind of didn't come back and play like none of the Asian swing or anything. But then someone said Svitolina did the same thing. She came back, played the middle of the season, then disappeared. I'm like, okay, well, maybe they're parents, so they got to do, they're mums, right? So they are going to be busy as well off court. She has got Lynette in the first round, which is a really good matchup for the first round because Lynette's the semi-final from last year. So that is a good start. And then possibly Cornet in the second, and then a Dajmar in the third. So she's got a good draw and could make the third round. And her name alone will get her on center court, or one of the big courts, because she's coming back, first time in 4 years. She retired here, so it's kind of come full circle. So, yeah, I mean, it'd be fun to see her. Her game. I mean, I watched her in her prime, but I don't know if her game. I mean, it's like a Dajmai would be a good matchup. I think if she played like a Raducanu or Sabalenka, it would have been a nightmare. But she's got a decent enough draw if she plays the same as she did when she was at her peak. So,
yeah, no, I agree. I think she's just. It's difficult to know because she hasn't played a lot of the top players, like where her level really is at. So, I guess hopefully we'll find out sooner rather than later.
She didn't play a warm-up either, did she? She's coming back straight to the Australian Open.
Well, she played the ASB Classic, but she lost in the first match to Svitolina.
Oh, did she?
Lost,
she did, yes. Yeah. She did, yeah.
And then she hasn't played anything else, so she didn't play, was it Adelaide this week? Or, yeah. I guess it's funny, too, because Annie will probably get 2 retirement ceremonies at the Australian Open. I hope not. I hope he plays the whole season, but I don't know. We'll see.
He got one 5 years ago.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, before his hip injury. Yeah, classic. Absolutely classic. That was. Has anyone ever come into the Australian Open and won it without playing any match? I guess he means any matches beforehand. I have no idea actually. I have no idea. Has Djokovic done it 1 year? He might have. He doesn't really play the Australian warm-up tournaments, does he?
Yeah, let me go down the list. I mean, Rafa played a tournament before winning in 22. I remember that.
Yeah, he did. The Melbourne Somerset, yeah.
And then, Djokovic played, what did he play? Adelaide last year. 21, I think. 2020 played ATP Cup. 2019, can't think. I mean, he's probably done it once. But the easy thing is that there's only a couple of players that have won the Australian Open over the last 20 years, so we don't have to look too hard. Djokovic maybe once, but Federer always used to play Hopman Cup, so I don't think Federer would have come in with nothing.
Yeah.
But then again, 2017, did he come in with nothing? Or did he play Hopman Cup? Oh, I can't remember.
Well, Hopman Cup isn't that mixed doubles, though?
Yeah, it was a mixed doubles exhibition.
Oh, that doesn't count, though.
But they played singles. It was kind of like how the United Cup is, but now, without points. So they play like a little, like I think he played Tsitsipas before the 2019 one, and then Tsitsipas beat him in the real one.
Yeah.
So.
Gene, you're gonna have to figure that out for us.
Yeah.
Let us know. I'm interested now. Jack says, "Who are your guys' dark horse for the WTA?" Go on, do you know? Actually, I thought I picked as mine.
Zhang is the big one, right?
Yeah, I think that was mine as well. Actually, yeah.
Osaka. If you want to go with unseeded. Like it's crazy because 2 years ago you could have picked 10 players.
Yeah,
but
definitely.
These days at WTA it's like, well, it's probably going to be one of the top 5, maybe top 6 if you add in Ons. Yeah. But then outside of that, you go, well, I mean, Svitolina, Ostapenko, Azarenka. then Zhang. I mean, Zhang's the big one that's number 12.
Yeah.
But then everyone outside the top 20 is like real hard to pick.
Maybe Layla. I mean, she had a
I was going to
really
say Fernandez,
good, Beijing King Cup. I'm just wondering whether she can carry that into the Australian Open. It's difficult because I don't want to put too much emphasis on the back end of last year because that's what a lot of people are doing with Sinner as well.
Yeah.
I just feel like it doesn't always translate. And like Gil made a good point when we did the review of the year that it doesn't tend to kind of translate into the new year because of off season and everyone's then fresh. So yeah, I mean we'll see. It'll be good to see her back play, going deeper at a Grand Slam. She's obviously made a final in the past, so she's got the ability, and I feel like on a faster hard court it may not be her forte, but at the same time she's got a good enough like counter-punching game to do something on the surface. So I guess we'll see, but hopefully that answers your question, Jack Captures. I'm assuming that's a photography channel or something, maybe. Check that out later. And poor linesmen, how they get their money. Yeah, well, I don't know. It's unfortunate that they should retrain as like part of the Hawkeye staff or something. That's what they should do.
Well, it's not that like. Well, I used to know a guy. Like actually, one of my uni teachers was a lines person, but he ran an architect's business, and then on the off season, like when he had time off, he'd do that for fun. So I don't think most of them are doing it full time anyway. They could be drivers. I mean, there's heaps of jobs. Like one of my high school teachers was an Australian Open driver. She'd always talk about like, oh, I had Roger in the back seat. Like it was just like she'd tell us all the stories about all the players she drove from the hotels to the tournament. So there's a lot of jobs. If somebody was really wanted to keep staying, working there.
That means a lot of people are doing it because they just want to see the players up close for free. They're like, yeah, it's great.
Yeah,
get to see Djokovic. I'm on court with Djokovic. Yeah, the other day. Yeah, easy.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. What's the gender of the voice of the automatic line calling? Because I saw I've dated the manager. I haven't actually heard it. Is there a voice?
I think
no voice, is there?
I know they did. I don't know if it was Australian Open a couple of years ago. They had like Rod Laver. They had like Australian greats.
Yeah.
Doing the lines like did like the voiceovers.
Oh.
Okay. I know maybe it was Laver Cup had Rod Laver doing it. I can't remember. They do sometimes. They do put in some effort and they make it like it's not just like a random AI voice. It's like they pre-record them from players. So I'm not sure.
I need to have one from like Superman's little like what was it? Like his dad. I should have one of those very grand ones. Oh, I love that. Yeah, Laura says still can't believe Cam almost got Carlos's autograph. Yeah. He just shunned you. It's fine. Next time, Cam.
Yeah.
He
saw me and he's like, I don't like you. I know who you are, and he left. That's what. He just walked straight past. Like, yep.
He's like, I remember what you said about me on that stream on the 22nd of November. Yeah, at minute 57. Yeah.
You said I couldn't win Wimbledon. Yeah, you picked Djokovic. That's what it was. You remembered. I didn't pick him.
Oh, can you imagine? Wow. Just what do you make of Steph, Matteo? So yeah, who did you pick? Did you pick Matteo to come through that then?
I don't know. I mean, that could be the most hyped, one of the most hyped matches that ends up in retirement. Like Tsitsipas has not looked good.
No.
And if he goes down like a set and a break and his back's killing him, he might just pull the pin. Like that could be really like I'm not gonna get too. I'm gonna watch it. We're gonna definitely watch it, but yeah. I mean, I don't know. I mean, Matteo should win if they both play the entire match, but then he hasn't played much. Like didn't he pull out of something? Did he pull out of something in? He didn't play the United Cup for Italy. So yeah, they're both like big question marks. But Steph seeing him on court, he doesn't look great. But Berrettini could look terrible too. So it could just be walking wounded, and they both just like come out looking terrible, and whoever can stay on their feet. But yeah, I don't know. I'll go Berrettini because I don't trust Tsitsipas's fitness.
Yeah, I think in the draw I picked Steph, but then the more I think about it, the more I'm like, should I pick Berrettini because of the whole injury saga that's going on with him right now, and especially because I feel like if Steph has to go 4 or 5, then I start leaning more towards Berrettini because I just feel like Berrettini won't play unless he's fit. Like he tends to pull out if he feels like he can't go 4 or 5. Since he doesn't tend to retire from matches, apart from that match against Rune where it looked like he was going to get double bageled. But but I think he was probably really bad at that point. But yeah, we'll see. I mean, that'll be a great match though. And I do wonder whether it might be a bit similar to the Murray Berrettini match last year, where you get a really tight one. Which might be interesting.
They played a lot, but Steph's won them all.
Oh really?
They were supposed to play in 2021, but Berrettini pulled out.
What's the head-to-head total?
3-0.
Okay.
Steph. So Berrettini's never beaten him, but they played last year at the United Cup, and it was a 3-setter.
That was close. That one I remember. That was a really good match, actually. Yeah.
So I mean, if they're both healthy, Steph probably wins in 4. But if I don't know, 5 sets, Berrettini maybe, or maybe Berrettini last year against Murray. I mean, does he remember that? Hopefully not. So.
yeah, I'm sure he does. Yeah. There's such a thing as a Fazan curse here. No, there isn't actually. Only Fazan special. That's it.
There's no such thing as a cam curse. I don't know who said Dan. I don't know what you're talking about.
What is the cam curse? Is that you saying that people are going to win and they lose?
Netflix curse is the only curse. That's it. That's the only one. There's nothing else. I don't know what you're talking about, Dan.
Someone explain to me how the cam curse works. That's what.
It doesn't work. It doesn't. It's just something that the chat like to say for fun. There is a Fazan special though. I have been to
Fazan special. Yeah. Well, to be fair, I put some clips of me playing on the channel, and I'm pretty sure people are like, "No, Fazan special." I was like,
you just gotta keep. You just like haven't done it.
There's one of me playing a drop shot. To be fair, but no Fazan special comments. So, but yeah, a little short there as well. Sausage Bird doesn't look good. I don't know. I haven't seen her actually, to be honest, this year so far. But
did she play?
Has she even played? Has she played last week or something? Did she?
I don't think she played. She didn't play
No, she hasn't played. How can you? Maybe he's talking about warm ups and stuff. But you know what? What I will say, chat, is very, very difficult to really judge anything about when it comes to warm ups. Like I just feel like it's really, really difficult to gain any sort of judgment about how someone is form wise. You're laughing at this comment from Dan, aren't you?
I'm just seeing a couple of things in the chat.
Good. I can't be miserable side of me just working up.
Hey, look, when I went to Kuyong the other day and I walked in, it was set point and Hashanov double faulted. That had nothing to do with me. All right, it was a coincidence that the first point I saw was a double fault. Right, it had nothing. I didn't come in and then he double faulted. Right, it was nothing to do with me.
Where is the Kuyong exhibition? Where is it being held? In Melbourne.
So, it was about a 10-minute drive from, or about 10 minutes, depending on traffic. And the place is called the suburb or the town is called Kuyong. So,
okay,
it's a small part of just outside of the city. I guess it's kind of similar to I guess how Wimbledon and Queen's Club, that kind of distance. How you've got the Queen's Club is kind of shoved in the middle of this suburban area. Same thing with Kuyong.
Yeah.
It's a very nice area. It's a very nice area. A lot of people with a lot of big houses with a lot of gates, a lot of gated communities.
It's a little bit like what's that exhibition tournament they have for the UK? The grass one.
Oh yeah.
I forgot what it's called. The one that Armani always sponsors. The Giorgio Armani Classic or something, isn't it?
It's on that similar. Yeah, it's a really nice club as well. The Kuyong lawn tennis club. It's really nice.
Have you played there?
I have. I played down the back on their clay courts. They've got two clubhouses. They've got the main one where like it's got like the valet parking and all the fancy stuff,
and
and
then
then there's
the
like a
peasant
shed down the back.
and the peasant area for
They're like,
everyone
you're
else.
playing over there, and you walk past all the grass courts that are nice, and then you go play on the dirt down the back, and then. But we did get food in the restaurant after because all the players we played were members, so they did let us in, but we had to take off our shoes and put our bags in the lockers. It was a real whole thing, but it was a great lunch.
Have you ever played on actual grass courts?
No, I haven't. There's only a few around.
I played last year.
Oh yeah,
I played in the summer. Yeah. Because basically, so Wimbledon have built like it's a place. It's Rains Park, which you might know because you've been in
I've
the
heard
UK.
of that. Yeah,
Yeah. So it's not too far from Wimbledon. They've got their they built like part of like SW19 and WJTI is called as LTA have built like a center. So it's indoor courts and outdoor courts. They're hard courts. They're like really good standard. And then they also have grass courts, which like some of the qualifying used to be there, and like also they have practice, like some of the players will practice there, but they open it to the public like after Wimbledon.
cool.
So you can book it, and so I like played on it, and it's like it wasn't 100% what I was expecting. I played on artificial grass, and like artificial grass skids a lot. It's like super quick, and like grass was like relatively quick, but like it bounces a lot more than I was expecting. Like slice obviously helps a lot, like skids on, but like when you play topspin shots, like you don't expect it to pop as much as it does, like on the surface. It's like really, it's kind of a bit weird to be honest in that way. But and also the other thing is movement. I thought I might slip and stuff because they're the players. They're like, oh, movement's such a big deal. Like, oh, I might slip over and stuff. And like, I was like, it's fine. Like, I don't know whether it's because I've grown up like running around in the park, but where have these guys been running around when they've been growing up? Because I didn't have an issue at all. I was like, it's so weird. Like I can see why it might be difficult to move on clay because like you have to slide, but like grass, I was like, it's fine. Like weird, but yeah, that's a good experience.
That's awesome.
But yeah, Jabeur, what do you think of her chances though? Do you think do you have any real expectations of her like being challenging, or do you think she's just gonna?
Not really.
Be middle of the road?
I mean, on Draver second round, that's the one. I think that's when we'll find out whether or not she is going to do something because she loses on Draver, you know, we move on. But then she beats on Draver second round. Krejcikova is not in great form, so there's might not be a chance they play in the fourth round. She probably makes the quarters if she gets to Andreeva. Or she'll lose to Andreeva. So it's it's similar to who was I thinking? It's very similar to somebody like kind of like Alcaraz. Once you get through that first round where the tough player is, it kind of just opens up, and there's not that many tough players. I mean, Osaka versus Garcia is similar too. You know, if Osaka gets through that first match, there's a couple of good matches for her that she should be able to win. So, yeah, like it's hard because same with Medi. You know, we haven't watched them because they haven't played. So, whereas last year she made the semis of Adelaide, so at least we saw that.
Yeah, we did.
So
it's a bit weird she hasn't played anything. I wonder whether she's still not 100%.
Yeah,
it's a shame.
Yeah. Oh, she played that exhibition against Sabalenka, but then I think might have hurt herself in that exhibition if I remember watching it correctly.
She also definitely did not play it. Like I feel like an exhibition is almost like perfect for Jabeur for like if you're the crowd watching. Yeah. But like you know, like Alcaraz or like Murray, they might take it a bit more seriously. I feel like with her, she's like, great, I can play as many drop shots as I would like. Like I can play some tweeners and I can play my slices, and it's like perfect exhibition tennis. So
yeah,
I think she was loving it, but. Whereas Sabalenka just blasting the ball from the other side of the court, like, thank you.
Exactly, yeah.
Does any Australian Open food challenges between you and Campers on? I don't know. What is this?
I don't think so.
What type of food challenges?
I mean, I don't know how you feel about eating food at 3 a.m, but like, if it was reversed, I'd be like, I'm not eating hot dogs at 4 a.m. doing a hot dog challenge or anything like that.
Yeah. If I eat, I'll definitely fall asleep at 3 a.m.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, definitely, yeah. Oh man. Actually, guys, imagine if Penko was on the Hawkeye staff. Oh mate, she'd probably scrap the whole system, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah. Crazy. Absolutely crazy. Lineker's Mateo always looks good. That's true. He's a good-looking chap. I'll give him that. Yeah, from humble beginnings. But yeah, actually, he's a good example of a player who hasn't had a like really privileged upbringing, and he still managed to like do really well as a tennis player. 'Cause there's not that many around, to be fair, like that have made it to like top 20, for example. Like Djokovic is obviously the best example, but like
Tiafo is another
yeah,
one
and
that
Tiafo,
pulls in
yeah,
there.
exactly, and Tiafo as well. But they're like very far and few between. There's not a whole host of them. Like tennis is an expensive sport, so a lot of the players have come through like the college system on the US side, or like they've had parents who are really wealthy, or they've had people in their family that were like pro sportsmen in some other sport, like Sebastian Korda, for example. Like
Yeah,
Nadal's uncle used to play for like Barcelona,
yeah,
and stuff like that. So yeah, like
that's true.
it's like really interesting. Like Fed's parents were like filthy rich, so like it just like makes a big difference, right? Like if you've got that
Yeah,
money. So he's definitely one. Oh, what's this? Team has a huge chance of beating a seed in a slam for once this has come back. Yeah, I said that in
yeah,
my draw preview. The only thing is, I don't think there's an asterisk by it because Felix isn't in great form. I don't think that's why, but it's not the same as like say he's so close to being Tsitsipas last
yeah,
year at Wimbledon, for example. I feel like if he'd done that, that would have been huge. But FA's kind of he lost to Hanfman, wasn't it? Was it Hanfman in the first round of the ASB Classic or something, or
I think
Adelaide?
so. Yeah,
Yeah, so he's still not in great form, but it would be I'm sure it'd be a confidence booster. Who do you have making out of that match, by the way?
yeah. I've got Team. Team looked good against Rafa first set as
He did,
well
yeah, he looked
in
great. I'll say if he
Brisbane.
plays like that,
Yeah, yeah,
huge.
and Felix. Yeah, I mean, he's been the last 12 months have been so hard to watch. So you just think, well, if he lost, had he have made like the semis last week, you would have been able to pick him, I guess, with more confidence. But yeah, I've got Team. I still think it goes probably 4 or 5 sets. I don't think Team's going to make it like easy on himself, but he should win that. He should win it. But that's a great, like, I know, like, when I used to go to the Australian Open a lot more,
Yeah,
I'd always go like the first couple of like the first 4 days are the best. First,
yeah,
second rounds. That match could be on an outside free court that you could go watch
yeah,
and you could pay the ground pass for $30 and get to see it. So if you're
yeah,
going to tennis, find out where that's being played. It's probably going to be played on Kia Arena or one of those arenas where it's not like you don't have to pay extra to get in. So that would be an epic to go watch. I mean, 2 former top 10 guys. Like that's the kind of match that I would go see. And the crowds on the outside courts have a little bit more to drink, so they're a little bit more rowdy as well. So yeah, that would be an epic, and it has potential to 5 sets. Could be one of the matches of the first round. I think I like that. I kind of like that match a little bit more than Tsitsipas Berrettini because they're both not in form, but they're both not in
yeah,
form, so they're both at the same. Whereas
yeah.
the other
That's
guys are
true.
both like injuries, so you don't know who's going to be hurt more. But yeah, that has a lot of potential.
That's true. I agree. Yeah, yeah. Tsitsipas injured. Yeah, back issue. I
Yeah.
think. Traces, has there ever been a great tennis player who was never injured? I, I, I have no idea. I'm assuming no, because injuries are just part of the sport. I mean, at least they would have had a niggle. If you're saying that they have any injuries that kept them out of matches, maybe not, but I'd be surprised still.
But I mean, Borg retired so quick. Did he have time to get injured? Did Borg
I
have any
mean,
big
he
injuries?
retired at what 29, 30?
I think he retired
He
at
must have
25,
been
didn't he?
injured at
For the
25.
start, like the first retirement, he came back. I know he came back, but
Yeah, he
did he
must
have any
have. I
major
mean,
injuries?
oh, maybe not major injuries, yeah. But they must have had some injuries where they were out for like, a couple of weeks or a month
Yeah, yeah,
or something.
yeah.
And the
True.
thing is, there'll always be injuries that are not disclosed as well, especially back in the day because there were bigger
Oh yeah.
breaks, right, in between tournaments. So especially in the off season, like they must have had some.
Did Connors have? I mean, Connors must have had injuries. He played for so long. He would have
Yeah,
had injuries at the end when he was still playing at 35.
yeah,
He must have had something.
yeah. Pete
Sampras?
Sampras wasn't. Yeah, I think he Didn't he have?
Sampras struggled at the end though.
Yeah,
with,
he did. Yeah,
with injury, so there was like that, just like I guess like wear and tear. But if you're talking major injuries like knee and shoulder and stuff, I mean, Nadal's dealt with a lot. Federer obviously had a lot. Djokovic had the shoulder, or the elbow for 6 months. So yeah, and Serena, I mean, she's had stuff. So yeah, not really. I mean, there's not too many.
yeah, definitely. I mean, it's very rare, in honesty. But
Lendl,
yeah,
I don't know, because Lendl was
maybe.
like the first to become a machine and take training seriously, and treat his body right. But I don't know. Interesting. But yeah, and plus the coverage back then, you wouldn't know as much. They wouldn't have reported as much because you'd be able to hide things a lot more. And whereas now it's like everyone's got a phone, everyone's got a camera. You can see the slightest. Like the only reason most of us would have seen Djokovic in practice get hurt is because someone recorded it.
Yeah,
That wouldn't have happened.
that's true actually. So there would have been that's the thing, right? I think there would have been a lot more hidden injuries back in the day because of like lack of
Lendl had back
accessibility.
problems apparently. So does Sampras. There you go.
Yeah, I mean, Sampras makes sense because he's such a big server, right? He used to really bend his back, like literally serving. So that's not a surprise. I feel like with platform stances as well, they bend their backs more because with like pinpoint, you're able to kind of like go through the motion, so you don't have as much stress on your back. Whereas pinpoint, it's like you have to explode off the like ground. You don't have that momentum like going forward. So your back takes a lot more strain from it. But yeah, does Sinner win 5 sets? You think? I mean, is that just a general question asking if he can win 5 sets? If it is, then yes. If you're saying someone specific, then I don't know. But
has he? Yeah, I'm just trying. Has he won a 5-setter lately?
So I know Roland Garros, he lost the 5-setter, didn't he? To
He lost. He lost,
Altmaier, wasn't it?
and he lost the 5 sets. It's the Australian to
Zverev.
Tsitsipas. Was Zverev?
And he lost to
Oh
Zverev
yeah,
in
and the US Open. Yeah.
That's a good question then. Actually, fine, I take it back.
So 3 of the last 4, he's lost in 5. And then if you want to go back to 22, he lost in 5 to Alcaraz, right? So it's like, and then Djokovic. How far we come back? Then he goes to Djokovic in 22. He lost in a 5-setter in his last.
That means he's lost 5 out of his last 6 slams, right? He's lost in 5.
When was the last time he won a 5-setter? That's probably the question.
That doesn't make good reading. Has he even won one in his career? That's the question, isn't it? Let's see.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, yeah, like you said, it does depend who he plays. We're not talking like he lost to like Altmaier was crazy.
That was
random,
crazy, wasn't it? Oh, man.
But like Tsitsipas at the Australian Open last year, okay, that's fair. Zverev, okay, it's not like Zverev hasn't won anything. Djokovic, we understand. Alcaraz, we understand. I mean, if he plays a 5-setter against like who's in his section, I mean, I think he gets through. He doesn't get through Djokovic in 5. I don't think. I mean, Djokovic in 5 would be hard for everybody, right? But not especially for maybe Sinner psychologically more so. If they go to a 5th, he might think, "Whoops, I haven't won this for a while." It would be cool to see Sinner play like a 5-setter against someone early.
Yeah,
Rublev. I mean, Rublev quarterfinal 5-set could be a thing. Maybe, I don't know. That's interesting.
I need to find out whether he's actually won a 5-set match. I don't know if he has.
Yeah, I feel like he won. I feel like last year's Australian Open, he was down 2-11, came back, but it was one of those. He lost the first 2 sets and then he just completely wrecked it in the next 3.
Yeah, I think you're right. It
was it US Open maybe? He played
might have even been the first round.
Was it Fucsovic maybe?
Oh, yeah, I think you're right. Fucsovic, yeah. I'm trying to think whether it was. Let's have a look. Was it a US Open or?
And he lost the first 2 and it was like, oh no. And then he just kind of went like 2-3-3. And like, okay.
Yeah, so Wawrinka beaten 4. Australian Open. Yeah, it's a 3rd round. Yeah, so he was. No, actually, so he came back from 2 sets to love down to win in 5.
Yeah.
Yeah, 6-4. So it's 4-6, 4-6, 6-1, 6-2, 6 love.
Oh yeah, okay.
Bizarre,
yeah. So that kind of like
Seesaw
lost the first 2 and then just kind of cleaned up Djokovic style.
Yeah, he basically did to Fuchsovich what Djokovic did to him at Wimbledon.
Yep.
Levels. Josep says Felix in 5. Yeah, it could be. Could be. I think someone said that they're going to burn each other out, most likely. Which wouldn't be surprising, I guess. Borg 26. Okay, I stand corrected. Borg made up an injury once to visit his girlfriend at the time. Rotterdam 1975. He had a bit of an abdominal muscle strain at Wimbledon 1976. Statman Pat, thank you. In with the stats, we like it. Del Potro. Who said Del Potro? That's just harsh. That's just... Below the belt, Sean. Below the belt. Outrageous comment. Yeah, back injuries, severe back problems. Yeah, that's fine. Fitness issues with Sinner on a 5. I don't know if it's fitness though. I don't know. I feel like maybe it was in the past, but I haven't noticed it recently. I feel like the US Open one to Zverev wasn't fitness. That was just from memory, he just lost. Like it was a seesaw match as well, because I think it was like Sinner won a set, then Zverev, then Sinner, then Zverev, or the other way around, and then last set obviously Zverev won. So I don't think it was. I think it was just a seesaw match in the end. Let me see here.
I mean,
yeah.
It's funny because like we've seen him in best of 3 cramp and get blisters, but then like if you look at the matches that he has lost over the last couple, like Djokovic at Wimbledon, okay, Alcaraz at the US wasn't fitness problems; it was just Alcaraz with the crazy comeback.
Yeah.
Australian Open last year, Tsitsipas winning in 5. I think it was. I don't know if it was fitness related. The Altmaier match was just random. And then Zverev, the thing with Zverev though, and I've only just from last week kind of just caught onto it. His fitness is underrated.
No,
he was like against Sinner, he shouldn't have won that match at the US Open. I mean, went forever, and then he does what he did at the United Cup. I mean, his fitness levels are super underrated.
Yeah, no, he's got his conditioning is very good. He doesn't tend to gas at all, actually.
No,
or have any physical issues. So he had obviously that massive injury, but normally with him, it's not to do with fitness. It's normally to do with the way that he's playing. And the one thing that I noticed in the United Cup is that he was playing a lot more aggressively.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, especially going for more on the backhand side, like I feel like he obviously trusts that side a lot more.
Yeah.
And he was going through it a lot more, like trying to hit winners, like finding bigger angles, going for like smaller targets. And I was looking at it thinking, okay, this is interesting. He still looks a little bit lumbers a little bit to the net. I'm still not convinced that. I feel like he's very slow getting up to the net, which is a weird one. I don't know whether it's just not super natural to him. But there's less of the loopy forehands cross court, like safe options all the time.
Yeah.
With him. So, but yeah, he defends well. Like if people watch him, if you watch him, like next time you see him chat, like just watch him like move side to side laterally, and then like also how he stretches to the ball, and just generally like how he's able to defend. He's very, very solid. Like he's up there, some of the best, I think. I wouldn't say he's up like a Djokovic level, but he's not that far off in honesty. And he defends the backhand corner really well because his backhand's so solid, like similar to like a Medvedev in that sense. So that definitely helps.
Yeah.
Sinner US Open 2022, he won in 5 sets against Altmaier and Navashka, and then an epic against Alcaraz.
There you go.
Thank you, Statman Pat. Draper and Bublik later. Yeah, that's later on today. That'll be a good match. Are you covering that?
No, this week I've been more. I don't know how crazy next week's going to be, so it's kind of been taking the backseat, and plus going to the tennis. And I mean, you know as well as I do that we've got to put videos out for all the previews and all the stuff that's coming up. So I'm saving myself for next week because, like, I think Pegula Kazatkina's on tonight as well. I mean, there's a lot of interesting matches coming up.
There's some decent matches. Yeah, I saw them.
Yeah. And if Raducanu had won, I think it would have been Penko Raducanu if that had.
Yeah, that would have been.
I mean, even Kuyong had some good matches. Sinner versus Rude was yesterday. I think Rune, he played a day. So there's a couple of. I've been watching. I've been watching more tennis than I've been streaming this week, which is a nice change. But that changes on Sunday, and you won't get to sleep. So
can't can't wait. Yeah.
2 weeks of sleepless nights. That's
Yeah.
it.
At least I'm lucky. I've got some helpers, whereas I feel like
True. Yeah. Yeah. You've done it well.
got some people to help out. Sean says the attacking players gas out more. I mean, I guess technically they shouldn't if they're trying to shorten the points.
Yeah.
You would imagine. Well, this is a bit of a tricky question because if you okay, I'll put it this way: if you have two players who have the same level of fitness, and one plays a more aggressive style, one plays a more defensive style, then you would assume the person playing more defensive style is going to play longer points, and ultimately will gas out first because the person who plays more attacking tennis, he's either going to win points by hitting winners or force errors, or he's just going to, hit an unforced error a lot quicker than the more defensive player who's got better shot tolerance is going to be involved in more crawling rallies. But then obviously that's not the reality because you're going to have players who have better fitness than others and vice versa in the styles. So there's like two factors to kind of cater in there.
Yeah.
So in that sense, but you agree with that, right?
Yeah. Like if you take like I don't know Zverev and Alcaraz for example, play totally different styles. One's attacking, one's not. I guess I mean if you're an attacking player, I mean if you flip it around and you're an attacking player your whole career. And then you have to go the best kind of comparison would be like a UFC or a boxing kind of like you got like Floyd Mayweather defends, right? He's going to go 12 rounds every day.
Yeah.
So his fitness level is going to be better than someone who wants to knock someone out in the first round. Like Conor McGregor is probably the best example of someone who gasses out, right?
Yeah.
For those sports. It would be the same. You think that maybe someone who's grown up playing short matches, winning quick points, if they have to play a 5-hour match, they're not going to be able to go the distance. Whereas if someone like a Zverev or a Medvedev who's like, well, I'm just going to stand back here and grind the baseline for 5 hours, they're going to be better. But I guess then, I mean, the best players are the ones that can play aggressive but also have to play 5 hours if they do. I mean, that's what you want. You want to be able to do both. I mean, Federer, right? He was more aggressive, but he can play 5 hours without having to, without breaking down. So yeah, it's a tough one. It's an interesting one because then then surface comes into it. If you want to get
that's true.
Get real deep, it's like, well, we're playing on clay or we're playing on grass.
Yeah,
so it's we're playing on, so
conditioning's got a big part. That's basically what you're saying, which is a good point because like some players have better condition than others, which is why I try to simplify by saying like I was like, well, it's fine. Like two players exactly the same fitness, but yeah, I think surface plays a big part as well, as you said, because some players, for example, not even just surface, but like conditions, some players are affected by the heat a lot more than others. Like, you saw like Novak is probably the fittest player on tour, and then he struggles a lot when it's like extreme heat, but he gets through it, but he'll still like throw up and stuff. Like he struggles with it to a degree. And then surface wise, some players, if they don't move well, so for example on clay, then they feel like they're a bit stuck in the mud a little bit, so they can't slide well. Then they kind of the way that they're moving is very like labored. And similarly, like on grass, some players might feel like it's easier to move on, or if they're kind of watching their steps a lot, then mentally it uses up a lot of energy, and then that kind of translates to physical energy. When you're constantly thinking, I'm going to slip, like, it's one of, like, so there's like all these different factors, which is interesting, and psychology comes into it to a degree as well. But
with the psychology in that, just a random thought, like playing at the level that we've probably played, we don't have a shot clock. Like we don't have like not a shot clock, like a timer. So like if I played for 2.5 hours, I wouldn't know it. I'd probably feel it, but I wouldn't know it. But like knowing, like looking over and going, man, it's 3 hours, and seeing like the clock in like the Rolex clock, just like big bold letter like numbers, I'd be like, man, that hurts, Like that's a whole thing that I mean,
I guess they can go one of two ways, right? Because if they see the clock and it's like 3 hours and they feel fine, they might be like, this is great, I can keep on going for it. You know what I mean? Whereas if they look at it and if they've got a slight doubt, they're feeling a little bit fatigued, and they look at it like you're saying, and they're probably like, well, I don't feel great now. I know why, and that's then it spirals.
I feel good. It's 3 hours. Oh man, that's a lot. And then they start feeling bad.
Yeah, I wonder whether that factors into like the cramp and stuff, right? Because obviously, like stress, I think I'm not a doctor, but I think stress also like helps with the build up of lactic acid as well. So then obviously
Yeah.
that would like cause people to cramp more as well because they're probably looking at the clock saying like crap, like I'm. And then also the other thing with the scheduling, and in the
Mhm.
past they're probably thinking, and I need to play like
Yeah.
like how much sleep am I gonna get like, realistically before I have to
Oh yeah,
wake
that
up?
would if it's like 3 in the morning, you're like, and you
Yeah,
start thinking about I've got to do a press conference after this, and I've got to do
yeah,
that's you're probably going to lose then if you think that way. But
yeah. That's why, yeah, better men than us. That's for sure when it
yeah,
comes to this.
it's why we're here and there on court.
Yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure. Dancer Bublik versus Alcaraz could be a great match if it happened. Yeah, yeah, definitely. We agree on that. And what do you
On a
guys
hot
think about Ego?
afternoon,
Sorry, say that again.
put that on a hot afternoon, like a
Yeah, that'd be
30-degree day in like on a like 2 o'clock in the afternoon. That would be when Bublik's serve is its most dangerous. That's what would
yeah,
make that fun.
that's true. That's a good point. Okay, says, what do you guys think about Iga having a dominant year like the past? I, like on the men's, picked a different slam winner for all four slams. So, look, I mean, we'll see whether like she's able to dominate like she did in 2022 when she won 2 slams, and last year, of course, she didn't. We had a different
Mm,
slam win each one last year, which was nice to see. Actually, it was good, but
yeah,
I would be surprised if she wins the Australian Open given her draw this year. So that leaves Roland Garros, Wimbledon, US Open. I mean, I don't think she'll win Wimbledon, so she might win Roland Garros and the US Open. We'll see, but she'll definitely dominate to some degree. She'll be at the top of the game. I don't think she's going to drop off anywhere near like
yeah.
she's not going to land outside the top three. That's for sure. By the
No,
end of the
no,
year, in my
no.
opinion, anyway, unless she unfortunately picks up a really big injury or something.
Yeah, I think the same. I think French Open's hers, clay court season's still hers, and
Yeah,
then yeah, like before the draw, I probably thought, well, yeah, I mean the Australian Open is still sort of random. Like
yeah,
we've had Barty, Kennan, Osaka a couple of times. Even toward like Wozniacki, Serena won it, and then Kerber, and so there have been like chances, but with the draw, you go, oh, it's not looking. It's not going to be. Maybe not this year, but
yeah,
it's the difference between 2022 and 23 was that everyone got better. Though.
yeah,
Like with Świątek, she was like Barty left, she stepped up, but then everyone in 2022 was like, we have to be better to compete with her. So then last year, and she didn't have a bad year. She just, I mean, if you look at who she lost to, she loses to Raducanu in fourth round Australian Open,
yeah,
which we all know is a tough match. She wins the French. Wimbledon, she is probably going to be a hardest one to win, especially
yeah.
with the
Agreed.
opposition who are playing. She loses to Svitolina, which is an upset, but also Svitolina's, we know what she can do at slams and on that surface especially. And then she loses to Ostapenko. So you're like, well, if she doesn't play Penko, she doesn't play Raducanu, she probably makes a final somewhere else at least, and then she
Yeah,
stays on top. Whereas Sabalenka's run at slams is a little bit better because she didn't have to play as many, kryptonite players, I guess is the phrase. So if she gets a good draw, like or like this tournament, let's say Raducanu pulls out or falls off, or like Ostapenko doesn't play well, she could have a good run here and get a lot of points. But yeah, I mean everyone's getting. Sabalenka's gotten better, Goff's gotten better, Raducanu is getting a ranking up because the points are being given to her now. So Pegula is consistent, could beat Świątek here and there. We've seen. I think everyone's just gotten better, which yeah, and then Osaka coming back, we don't even know what that could mean. So yeah, I don't think it'll be dominant this year. Maybe the
yeah,
clay though. I think the clay she might only lose like a handful of matches, 2 matches,
yeah.
3 maybe. But
I agree. I agree. Economical poet, can he ever win Wimbledon? Well, Wimbledon probably not. Wimbledon maybe. Sorry, it's late, so There's some sarcasm creeping in.
All right, Jimmy
Yeah.
Connors calls it Wimbledon, and he won it, so he go, well, no excuse, no excuse.
Fair enough. Yeah, Świątek. Yeah, I think she can. I just don't think it'll be now. I think it might be a bit of like an adjustment with the movement and the surface. And I think the issue with her is that she's always going to be most likely going deep at Roland Garros, and then it's very difficult to turn around and just go onto a completely different surface. And she doesn't normally play a warm up tournament before, so it's hard going in like basically completely cold into Wimbledon. And yeah, and it's also not the most natural surface, but I think she'll win at least one in her career. What do you think?
Yeah, I think she'll get one. I thought last year was her best chance considering like the draw. Everyone who she doesn't want to play was down the bottom. So I thought last year was her best chance, and it could be her best chance for another like in the next 5 years because I think Sabalenka. I mean, do we think Goff's going to win a Wimbledon? I mean, that's where she broke out, right?
Yeah,
so Raducanu is still, all those big hitters are going to always probably beat her more than not. But I think she'll get one. I think it'll be her the last one she needs. I think she'll win Australia before Wimbledon at some point. Maybe not this year, but the US Open, that's kind of like Alcaraz. Like the US Open was the one that I guess maybe was a lot of people's like, random slam kind of thing. And it was, maybe, but yeah, I think Wimbledon will be her last, but she will get one. She'll just dominate the French. It'll probably be when she loses the French early and then she gets more time to practice. So
that's true. Yeah, that's a good point. What is Cam's predictions for the Australian Open? Yeah, who are your winners then? Who did you pick?
I picked last year, did the whole week before the end of the year predictions to see how they go. And I picked Raducanu to win the women's and I picked Djokovic to win the men's because, I mean, if you don't pick Djokovic, how do you not pick him? Yeah, the wrist is sore, but also his leg was sore and he killed everyone last year. So, so Djokovic, Raducanu. I'm going to stick with Raducanu even though I'm a little worried.
Yeah. I went
Sabalenka. I would have picked Sabalenka maybe if I didn't pick after. Her draw was better, but I'll stick with Raducanu.
Yeah, I went Djokovic, Sabalenka as well, but we'll see. We'll see. Which is a bit boring because the winners from last year, it's very unlikely that would happen again. But
I think the French Open, actually no, probably. I mean, look, the US Open's always the most fun predictions because it is the most open.
Yeah.
But French Open could be fun. I mean, Świątek should win, but on the men's side, there's a couple of options. I don't think it's Djokovic. Djokovic,
it's
wide
wide open.
Like it was Rafa, right?
Definitely, yeah. And also, the US Open will be open as for everyone because of the Olympics. So people will be tired after the Olympics, and that'll be on clay. And then there's some players who like they wouldn't have been at the Olympics because whatever countries are not there or whatever, and they're just not clay courts, and they come into the hard court swing and they're like, oh, I'm fresh, and then that's going to be interesting to see.
Cincinnati is going to be crazy because you got all the top players playing on clay. All the players that didn't qualify get to go play Canada and Washington. And then we go to Cincinnati with players on hard court form and players with hasn't played a hard court match in 6 months. So that's going to be a wild event.
Yeah, I agreed. Just count the days to Wimbledon for some when you're up savage hours. Will I? No, there's great hours for me.
No, I will be.
Yeah, Cam will be. Yeah, Cam will be up then. Yeah. Neil says, have more faith in Świątek. Her win percentage is over 80% over all surfaces, not just clay. That's fair.
Yeah, she's got some crazy stats. But then, I mean, give us the clay court stat because that makes you think, is she the female Rafa? Like it's...
yeah.
Yeah,
she
right.
is, isn't she? She is for sure. What about Sinner's chances? I think we said he's probably got... What do you think, second favourite?
Yeah, if he was down the bottom, I think I'd put him second. I'd put him third favourite because I think Alcaraz, Medvedev, one of those guys. Maybe, again, if Medi looks good on day 1 and 2, maybe Medvedev is slightly ahead of Alcaraz, but yeah, he's in Djokovic's half, so it's hard to say second favourite because he has to beat Djokovic to do it. But I think top 3 minimum.
Yeah, agreed. Economic says Nadal's going to win the French, Novak will win the other 3. Oh, big cool.
Maybe.
Big cool. Do you think WTA players can win 10 slams in the next 20-ish years? Oh, go on, Cam.
Yeah.
Who do you think can win 10 slams in the next 20-ish years?
Świątek will. I think she's already got 4, and she's 22. So
yeah, I
30, think by 32 she'll have double digits. I think Goff will.
Ooh.
I think Goff can get a handful of Wimbledons and maybe an Australian Open. I mean, she's 19, won 1, but she's been around forever. Goff could get there, but I think obviously the obvious one's Świątek. I think Osaka can still get 10 slams. She's got 4. She's taken so much time off. Like you go, well, if she doesn't take like years off like she has, I mean, 3 years ago she won, and then since then she's been injured and whatever. Osaka's halfway there. Anyone who's halfway there and has still like a good 5 to 10 years left, you think, well, especially when someone has like well, unfortunately for Osaka, it's like two of the 4 are realistic and 2 of the 4 are unrealistic.
Yeah.
Whereas Świątek has 4 out of 4 chances every year, so she should.
Osaka is interesting as well because can you imagine if she wins 6 slams as like a mother? That would be crazy. Like I don't think anyone would have done that. So that would be impressive. But I've always thought that Wimbledon she should do better given her game, but she just hasn't managed to click there. I think lack of experience on that surface as well, to be fair.
Yeah, true.
And Josep has got his hopes up for Novak Alcaraz final. Like Sean thinks Andreeva will win 10 or more slams. Well, I don't know. Actually, I always forget how young Goff is, only because she's been around since she was 16. Yeah. What do you think of her chances, by the way, at the the Australian Open? Obviously, she'll be confident after winning the US Open. Like, can she get close to going back to back?
Yeah, I feel like all the eyes are going to be on her though, and that might be a bit of a problem. Like, she just won the US Open, especially, and I'm not going to give any spoiler away, but she's very much featured at the end of Breakpoint, in the last episode. So I think a lot of people are going to be like, okay, she got her first. All right. Because, she was supposed to be the next American dominant player, right? For the ladies. Like Serena ends, Goff starts, and now it's like, okay, where's the 20 plus? So I think she's going to have a lot of people watching her, which might not help. But she does have a good draw. Fernandez, 3rd round. The Osaka possible 4th round, that's the match.
Yeah,
the 4th round, Osaka Goff.
That would be huge.
That would be huge. And then, but after that, Zachary or Haddad Mai quarterfinal. So semi-final against Sabalenka is expected, I think. There's no one. I mean, if she was in Świątek's part of the draw, then we would say like Kenin could win or Collins could beat her or whatever. But she doesn't have that many tough on paper unseeded players. So except for Osaka, 4th round. So she should make the semis, and if she beats Sabalenka again, well, then you go, well, then she could win it. She could win it all because Sabalenka's probably the 2nd, 3rd favorite, maybe 3rd favorite. Yeah.
Yeah, agreed. Last few questions and then we'll wrap it up. Economical says Prime Osaka or Iga?
I don't even know if we've seen Prime. We've seen Prime Iga. She's only 22.
Yeah.
2022. I mean, what's Prime Osaka? Is that 20?
I guess the last
20/1.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's such a hard matchup because what are we playing on clay? Are we playing US Open?
Let's take grass because both are terrible on grass.
Yeah.
Neutral surface.
If they played, let's say it was 2020/21 Osaka because she won back-to-back slams then, and then let's say Świątek 22, and it was on hard court because that's supposed to be neutral. I'd say Osaka because Prime Osaka is like Ostapenko times 10. So you think, well, if Penko can beat Świątek, Osaka's like more aggressive but more consistent. So you'd say Prime Osaka would win, would overpower. It's kind of like Prime Del Potro versus Prime Rafa kind of thing. Right? You go, well, Del Potro at his best just smashed the ball through Rafa. So you kind of go, would it be Prime? But if it was on clay, obviously Świątek. If it's on grass, probably Świątek. Probably. Because Osaka just doesn't play well there. But
yeah,
I think Prime, right? I still don't think we've seen Prime Świątek, but I think Prime Osaka, if it was that 2021 season or 2020/1 season, then yeah, I'd go Prime Osaka for now, but I think Świątek's still going to get better, which is going to get scary.
Yeah, agreed. Actually says, what are the main differences between the Australian Open and US Open hard courts?
The color.
From my knowledge, the Australian Open courts are slightly quicker.
Mhm.
Don't bounce as much, but
Yep.
there's not huge differences. What about you? What have you noticed apart from that?
Yeah, it used to be that the US Open was slower, but
Yeah,
that's like as in like
changed.
Indian Wells slow.
Yeah,
But that's changed. Yeah, I think it's just the condition, but it's not really the courts. It's more the conditions. But this year's Australian Open, if the weather keeps going the way it's been super humid in Melbourne. So it's been real, like real sweaty weather, which is kind of like New York in summer. So it could be more like US Open weather.
yeah,
But yeah, the courts in turn, yeah, they're pretty similar. They're pretty much similar. I think the ball might, like, I mean, the conversation about the tennis ball changes the whole time. That's going to have a difference too. They use a different ball. I think at the US Open they use a what they use. I know they use a Dunlop.
Dunlop.
Yeah, is it Dunlop US Open too?
What at the Australian Open?
Australian Open's Dunlop.
Yeah.
US Open.
No,
I'm not
US
sure.
Open's Wilson's.
Wilson.
Extra duty.
Yep. Yeah. So, and I've used the US Open ball for I have a ball machine that I haven't used for a year, but when I did use it, it was they last way longer.
They do, yeah, they do. I use them as well for my indoor stuff.
So good.
Yeah, they're great for indoor tennis. The US Open ones, to be fair, extra duty balls.
Yep.
Got a tin right there. I'm looking at it lovingly on the windowsill, and then a clay court tennis balls are. Anyway. Cool. I think that's all the questions. Gentleman says Sabalenka so likable and breakpoint. Yeah, just likable. I don't see WTA talent and double-digit slam looks. Yeah, fair enough. Thanks, Cam. Appreciate. Is there anything that you want to say before we wrap up?
No, not really. I mean, Oz Open starts in 48 hours.
Yeah,
it's crazy. It's already here.
Yeah, Shelton lost the first set. It's okay. Don't worry, guys. It's not the Australian Open. It's just.
Did he? Oh no. Who's he playing? Oh.
He's playing Lehechka, is it? No. Who's he playing? He's playing
someone. I think he's playing someone.
Decent. Taro Daniel.
Oh, and they had an epic last year. I read. So. Okay.
Taro Daniel.
Hey, it wouldn't be the worst thing.
You're like 2 hours late.
Hello and goodbye.
You watch the replay, man. Linear says, "Thanks, you sound nice together. Thank you, appreciated." Thanks, Cam, for being on as always. Much appreciated, and I'll catch you in your streams on during the Open, and then I'm sure I'll catch you after as well. But good luck with that, and everyone, if you're watching in the UK, then get some sleep. If you're watching in Australia, then have a good rest of the day. And if you're watching everywhere in between, then enjoy.
I'll give you a tip. I'll give everybody a tip. If you're watching in Europe, the way I do it when I have to watch European tournaments in Australia is get the day before, get the sleep schedule. Do it now. Because if you do it the day of, you're going to die on day one. So the day before, just stay up late as long as possible. If you don't have a job, or if you don't work, or you're going to take 2 weeks off. And then, and that way you'll at least get ready for day one and you won't be too tired. At least that's what I do.
Yeah, that's a good point. No, agreed. Unless you've got a full-time job like me, then it's impossible.
Well, yeah.
it's like
that's a hard part.
Sorry, guys. I'm going to work. My work hours are 3 a.m. to 3 p.m. Exactly. Oh, wish. But no. All good. Cool. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Nice. If you haven't done so already, which I'm pretty sure most of you are already subscribed to Cam anyway, go and subscribe to him. Otherwise, hit the like button here, subscribe if you haven't done so, if you want to, and want some more content with me, and also some other people on the channel as well. Good bunch of us. Yeah, cool. Thanks very much, Cam. Good luck on your streams as well. And
you too, mate.
speak to you guys soon. Thanks very much.